Good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again. This is Matchday Live, Champions League Matchday Live. Wow, we are back in the knockout stages of the Champions League. The first time since 2017. We are away in Portugal against Porto. It's all coming up the other side of this. So the Champions League is back. We are back in the knockout stage. Exciting stuff, isn't it? And we are away in Portugal tonight, of course, to face Porto. But, you know, it was not a bad draw. We could have got worse, couldn't we? But it's still going to be a difficult game tonight. It really is going to be a difficult game. It's a big test. And let's hope we can come out on top. So what is the team lineup then for this big game tonight? Well, no changes from the win at Burnley. So this is our Arsenal lineup then. So in goal it is, of course, David Raya, as you would expect. The back four, Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel and Jacob Kiwior. The three in midfield, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Martin Odegaard, the captain, and the three up front, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, and of course, Leandro Trossard, who scored a great goal, didn't he, at the weekend. On the bench then for Arsenal, goalkeepers, Aaron Ramsdale, Carl Hine, Cedric Suarez, James Sweet, Fabio Vieira, Mohamed El Neni, Arden Heaven, Jorginho, Reece Nelson, Ethan Nwaneri, Emil Smith-Rowe and Eddie Nketiah. So a few youngsters there on the bench as well, which is good to see, isn't it? This is how Porto line up. In goal, it is Diogo Costa, not the former Chelsea striker, you'll be pleased to know. Their back four is João Mario, Pepe, Otavio and Wendell. In midfield, it is Alan Varela, Nico Gonzalez and another Pepe. Lots of Pepes in the Porto team tonight. And up front, it is Cancelo, Francisco, Galeno and Evanilson. So that's your team. Like, what do you make of the Arsenal team? There's no changes. I don't suppose we're too surprised, are we? Mikel Arteta doesn't tend to trust his squad players too much, does he? So that's why he's gone with this team tonight. And obviously it's a strong 11, isn't it? The bench still worries me slightly in terms of players who can come off the bench to win a game. But we don't necessarily need to win tonight, do we? A draw would be a very, very good result, of course. Even a narrow defeat wouldn't be the end of the world, but we don't want to lose, of course, do we? We've got some comments in. Nathan says, hi, Rich, hope you're well. Everyone in the chat, yeah, I'm doing well, my friend. Hope you're well as well. Mark C's with us as well. He says, Luton are winning. They're not in the Champions League, are they? So we don't really care tonight. Mark C says, solid starting 11. Well, it's the same starting 11, isn't it, really? We don't expect too many changes, do we, to the team these days? I think we know what Mikel's favoured starting 11 is. It's one or two positions that he sometimes changed. Obviously, the left back has been changed a few times, hasn't it? Tonight it is, of course, Jacob Kiwior, Zinchenko still out, Thomas Partey still out. But other than that, the team almost picks itself, does it? The centre forward position, obviously, with Gabriel Jesus injured. Trossard, of course, is there tonight. I'm a little bit surprised maybe Jorginho didn't come in. The European away game seems to be what he's been really, really suited to. And I thought he may well have played in this game, possibly instead of Kai Havertz. But Mikel has gone with Kai Havertz, as he has done for most of the season. And that's the team. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a good start 11. We know it is. I don't know too much about Porto. Obviously, I recognise some of their players. And, you know, they've got a lot of Portuguese and Brazilians in their team. In fact, they're all pretty much Portuguese and Brazilians. A couple of Spaniards in there as well. So we know what they're going to be like. They'll be full of flair, won't they? And obviously, they want to take advantage of their home leg. So we need to come here today and just be difficult to beat. And if we can, obviously, get a result, even better. I would say I'll be pretty happy with a draw, if I'm honest. I'll be really happy with a draw tonight. Set it up nicely for the second leg at the Emirates, where, you know, we should be big favourites to win that game. So let's see if we can do it tonight. Let's get at least a draw and see where we are. But yeah, if we can win the game. Let's get it done. But I think it's going to be tricky. I think all away games in the knockout stage of the Champions League are tricky. And of course, as we know, Porto have won this competition, and we haven't. So another team that's got something over us that we haven't got yet. We need to put that right, don't we, at some point? Is this going to be the season to do it? I'm probably not convinced it will be, if I'm honest. Are we ready at this time with the squad that we've got? The first time back in the Champions League for a lot of years to go on and win it. I would say maybe not this year, but I think the experience that we get from it is going to be really, really important, isn't it? And hopefully we'll be in this competition for the next few years. And as each season goes by, we've got more chance of getting there, haven't we? And maybe one day we will lift that big trophy. But until then, let's just enjoy the ride, because it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? We haven't actually got through one of these knockout stages for what, 14 years. I think the last time we got through was it 2010. So it's been a long time, hasn't it? A long time since we have got through one of these ties. So it'd be nice to get through one, won't it? And of course, Mikel Arteta's record as manager over two-legged European ties isn't great, is it? Let's be honest. Of course, last season's Europa League, we all remember the disappointing exit that we suffered on that particular occasion, of course, to Sporting Lisbon, another Portuguese team, funnily enough. So let's hope we've learned some lessons from that. I'm sure we have, and we can go on here and get through. MATCHDAY's gone 2-1 in our favour. Well, that'd be nice. I'll take that one. We've Jander's with us. They're doing 3-0 to Arsenal. I don't know what you know about Porto, but I'm sure it's not going to be 3-0 away from home in a knockout Champions League game. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a tight game. I fancy a draw. I think there'll be goals. I think Porto look as though they've got some exciting attacking players. Defensively, we're pretty good. We can obviously score goals, as we know. I think it might be 2-2, and then we'll go through in the second leg, of course, at the Emirates in a few weeks' time. So, yeah, let's hope we can win. I'll take a 2-1 all day long, but I just fancy it's going to be difficult tonight. Big crowding, of course. It's going to be difficult. These games are always difficult, aren't they? Especially as we've not been in this situation before, have we? For a long, long time. This team has never been in this situation before. So, you know, the manager hasn't either as a manager. So yeah. Rajendra says, I know nothing of Porto. That's probably why you're gone for 3-0. But look, I don't know too much about them myself. They've got a lot of flair-type players, haven't they? Brazilians and Portuguese. You know what they're like. They're very skillful players, aren't they? Quick and skillful. So it's going to be tricky. Any game away in a European Champions League is always going to be tough, isn't it? And you've got to take what you can get. And a draw is a great result away from home, isn't it? Then it sets you up nicely for the home leg, where we can hopefully go on and win. I don't know about reasonably comfortably, but let's do the job. Yeah, a win tonight would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Nathan says Alan Varela is a good young player. Evan Elson is a decent striker. So yeah, so they're going to have some good players. Of course they are. You know, they're full of attacking flair, aren't they? And I think this is going to be a good game of football as well. Actually, I know sometimes these European knockout games, the first legs in particular, can be a little bit. Cagey, maybe. But I think tonight, this could be quite an open game. You know, Porto are going to want to win. Of course they are. It's their home leg. If they don't win this game tonight, they'll really probably feel that their chance of going through would be really, really difficult. So they're going to go for this tonight, aren't they? Of course they are. And it's going to make it a good game. They're not going to be a team that's going to sit with a low block, as we suffer quite a lot in the Premier League. They're going to try and win this game. Of course they are. So let's see what it's like. I'm expecting a decent game, actually. Open game. Lots of chances and hopefully a few goals. And if we can get a few, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Nick Nack's with us. How you doing, Nick Nack? Good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Terry, of course, with us as well. And he says, I'll set her out. A 3-1 win, 29 hat-trick. Well, I mean, I think if we win 3-1, I don't think Mikel Arteta will be going out, will he? So, but let's see. I'll say I think it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to win the Champions League this season. I really do. But the experience, I say, it could prove to be crucial. There's a Dutch referee with an unpronounceable name, and he is going to take charge of this game. Let's see how it plays out tonight. Obviously, no Premier League VAR. It's going to be European Champions League VAR. The Portugal captain, of course, Pepe, very, very experienced player, as we know. We've had a few encounters with him, haven't we, in the past? We've actually played Porto 6 times in Europe before. We've never won the away game. We've drawn 2 and lost 1. Last time we played here, of course, we did lose. It was at this stage of the Champions League. I think it was in 2009, was it? Or 2010. We did lose the first leg 2-1. Sol Campbell, actually, on his comeback, remember, he just re-signed for Arsenal and he scored our goal that night. We lost 2-1, but we beat them 5-0 at the Emirates. A certain Nicholas Bentner scored a hat-trick in that game. We won 5-0 to go through. So we've always beaten them at home, 100% record. They've never scored at the Emirates, but I say we've never won away at Porto either. So it's going to be interesting tonight to see if this team can change that record that we've had in the past here in Portugal. I say we did, of course, get knocked out against a Portuguese team last season in the Europa League. Nick Nack says Pepe's 40 apparently. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. He's certainly been around a while, hasn't he? Nathan says I'm surprised Pepe is still playing. Must be about 60 by now. Well, he's certainly an experienced player, isn't he? Anyway, it's going to be Porto in blue and white stripes to kick off this game. They're attacking a goal to our left in this first half. Arsenal, of course, in red and white. Bit surprising, maybe, in a way, because obviously the horrible away kit has actually served us well the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? With 11 goals and none conceded in the Premier League. This is going to be a totally different proposition tonight, though, isn't it, in the Champions League? But there's every chance that we can, of course, pick up a good result, because they are we're a decent side, aren't we? And we're playing well at the moment, of course, as we know. And let's hope that we can get through. I think, quarterfinals would be a decent first effort in the Champions League, wouldn't it? Semi-final would be amazing, and any further than that, then wow, that would be a real big deal, wouldn't it? If we can get to another final, but I'm not expecting it this season. I've got to be honest. Just want to see if we can go as far as we can, and getting through this tie would be the start of that, wouldn't it? And Arsenal just trying to settle into the game early on here. We've got a lot of possession in our own half. A little bit of miscommunication there, actually, and Declan Rice had to fly in, and he might well get himself an early yellow card here, Declan Rice. He was bad communication there, actually, with him, and I think it was William Saliba. And William Saliba played the ball to Declan Rice. He wasn't wanting it. He wasn't expecting it. And in the end, he's had to commit a foul. He's got a yellow card inside the first 90 seconds. That's dangerous. That is there. He had to overcommit there, and it was a foul. It was a yellow card, and he's now got to play for 90-odd minutes on a yellow card, Declan, in midfield, where he does a lot of ball winning, doesn't he? In a way, it's good to see the referee straight away early on in the game giving out yellow cards. A lot of referees wait, don't they? And maybe wait for 20 minutes and allow the first 2 or 3 fouls to go away. But the referee hasn't there. He's gone straight in. Let's hope he does that for both teams, though, as well. But Declan Rice has got a booking, one of the earliest bookings we've ever seen. About 1 minute and 15 seconds it was. Nick Nack says ref ain't messing about. No, obviously not. He's not messing about, is he? Straight in there with his yellow card. I think that was the right decision, because it was a yellow card foul. It doesn't matter if it happens in the first minute or the 91st. It's still a yellow card offence, and he's done it. So fair play to the ref. But it does mean Declan has now got to be very, very careful, because we don't need him to get sent off. One, because tonight that would make it difficult for us to get through with 10 men. And also, as well, it means he'll be suspended for the second leg as well, which will make it even more difficult. So, there you go. Terry says, send Declan off, dirty Declan. Well, it was a bad foul, but it was that miscommunication, wasn't it, between him and William Saliba. And Saliba played him the ball that he didn't really want. He wasn't ready for it. And he had to overstretch to try and stop the Porto counter-attack. And he's paid the price. He's got himself a yellow card, and now let's hope it doesn't affect his performance too much, because we know how important he is, and he does like to win that ball, doesn't he? And it's a risk now, isn't it? Any mistimed tackle could result in that second yellow card. Anyway, Bukayo Saka now on his near side. Arsenal just trying to settle into the game here. Obviously, it's a difficult atmosphere, and it's a difficult night for Arsenal. But so far, so good. 3 minutes played. Nothing's really happened in terms of chances created. It's just Arsenal knocking the ball around inside our own half at the moment. And there's a long ball, though, from Gabriel, looking for Gabriel Martinelli on that far side, but it's not going to reach him. And Pepe, it was, headed that clear. Good defending again from the veteran Portugal. Porto captain, now it's a free kick to the hosts just outside their own penalty area. I think it was... I think it might be Martin Odegaard who committed that foul. Anyway, the camera angle is quite a long way away from the pitch here. It's quite high up, and it's a little bit difficult to. The players seem very small to me. I've got a small telly as well, but anyway, it's a throw to Arsenal on this near side, which Martin Odegaard is going to leave for Ben White, who's coming up from right back. He's got William Saliba behind him. If he wants to go that way, he does go that way. Saliba now plays it back to Gabriel. One of the best Arsenal central defensive partnerships they've been for quite a long time. There's a good few years since we've had a better central defensive partnership than those two. And it's been the basis from which we've been able to build this season. Best defensive record in the Premier League. And if it stays that way, we'll have a big chance of doing some great things. But you can just... I'm still worried about when the pressure's really on, how we're gonna deal with all of that sort of pressure. And it'll be the same in the Champions League, won't it? You know, this game there's a fair bit of pressure tonight, so let's see how we cope. Anyway, we've started pretty well, knocking the ball around, but mainly inside our own half, which is a typical kind of way we play, isn't it? Really, you know, we are coming forward now over on that far side. Trossard's dropped deep there to get the ball and finds Martin Odegaard, and he shuffles it out to this near side. Bukayo Saka on the Arsenal right. Arsenal looking to try and come forward now. Martin Odegaard with a long ball, switches it from right to left to Gabriel Martinelli, and he can't get it under control, and it was the defender João Mario there, or Mario, who heads it out for a throw to Arsenal over on that far side. Jacob Kiwior. He's been playing well, hasn't he, at left back, Jacob Kiwior? And it's just a relief to have a player at left back who isn't a liability defensively, as of course Zinchenko has been. Not quite sure what's going on. There's a few rumours, isn't there, that maybe Zinchenko's fallen out with Ben White, falling out with Mikel Arteta, and that's why he's not in the squad at the moment. But I'm sure it's nothing like that. It is probably just an injury, isn't it? But anyway, we're not really missing him, I don't think. Jacob Kiwior has been playing really, really well, solid in that left back position. And yes, you know, he can play central as well. He's a central defender by trade, isn't he? And, you know, he wasn't even really signed as a left back, was he? But anyway, Arsenal been looking a little bit sloppy in possession there. And Gabriel almost let the ball run under his feet there and gifted the ball to Porto. But Arsenal did get away with that. And now David Raya played it long up that far side. Leandro Trossard's battling away over on that far side with João Mario. But it's Porto who come away with the ball. They've not really threatened it, have they, the hosts? They just wanted to get a little feel of the ball as well. The ball's now gone back to the goalkeeper, Diogo Costa. Very similar name, of course, to that Chelsea striker that we had a few battles with over the years, didn't we? But it's not him, of course. It is the goalkeeper for Porto. Where's number 99, which is a strange number for a goalkeeper, isn't it? I don't know if that's must be a personal thing, but a lot of the Porto players have got quite high numbers in the 90s and 80s and stuff like that. So I don't know if maybe it's a Portuguese thing. You know, we try and keep our numbers as low as possible, don't we? And one of the low numbers have got the ball now. Bukayo Saka, number 7, plays it back to number 2, William Saliba, and now Martin Odegaard. We do have a lot of our sort of first team players do have the 1 to 11 shirts as well, don't they? In fact, you know, apart from goalkeeper David Raya, who wears 22, and Jacob Kiwior, who's 15, the sort of back five have all got traditional kind of defensive numbers on, haven't they? And of course, we've got Saka and Martinelli, the 2 wide players, with the traditional wide numbers of 7 and 11. And of course, in midfield, Martin Odegaard's got 8. Of course, number 10 is Smith Rowe, who's on the bench again tonight. Also with a throw over on the far side. We played 7.5 minutes. Not a lot's happened yet. Terry says there, I think 35 ain't playing because Arteta has finally come to terms with his crap. Well, maybe that's what's happened. I don't know. He's certainly a liability defensively, isn't he? Yes, people say the benefit he has on the ball, dropping into midfield, giving us that extra body there. Yes, you can say that he's obviously good at that. There's no question about that. But as a defender, he's made far too many mistakes, hasn't he? And it's no surprise that we've not conceded any goals in the Premier League since he's been out of the team. It can't be a coincidence, can it? We look a little bit more, well, we look a little bit less likely to make stupid mistakes at the back without him there. Anyway, it is currently a free kick to Porto. And we've played 8.5 minutes, no goalkeeper. Neither goalkeeper's been called into action yet. It is a free kick, a mistake there from William Saliba. It's a little bit of a shaky start to this game, actually, Saliba. In fact, I would say as well, I mean, yes, overall he's having a great season, but I just think recently I've noticed 1 or 2 uncharacteristic errors from Saliba, actually. And tonight he made that pass to Declan very early on that led to Declan getting booked. He's just passed it straight to a Porto player there. And I say 1 or 2 mistakes in recent games as well. So it's something that maybe all players go through those little spells, don't they? You can be brilliant for most of your career, but you always have the odd little spelling where you have 2 or 3 games where you're a bit shaky. And I think Saliba's maybe having that just lately. He's been a little bit more sloppy. Anyway, it's a free kick to Porto on the halfway line over on that far side. It was Leandro Trossard who committed the foul there on Francisco. And he's going to be a free kick to the host. And neither team, I say at the moment, is really looking particularly dangerous. It was, in fact, I think it was Martinelli that actually committed the foul, and then Trossard ended up winning the ball because the Porto player, Francisco, was on the floor. Anyway, Porto are struggling to get forward at the minute, actually. I just played the ball back to the goalkeeper, Costa, and it's now with the defender, Otavio, plays it forward. There's a bit of space on his near side, but David Raya's out of his penalty area, gets across in. It's a quick throw, and he's got to run back into his goal, David Raya. They take it quickly. Porto looking for an opportunity to get a quick goal, but they're not able to, and Arsenal defend that pretty well. And the ball's now back in the Porto half. Nick Nack says, Porto will make a meal of any challenges that come in. Absolutely, yes, of course they will. They're Portuguese and Brazilian. They're going to roll around a lot, aren't they? That's kind of what they're almost like that's what they're brought up on, isn't it? Those sort of Latin American players, they are brought up to make the most of any little challenge that they get. And it's going to be another free kick on this near side to Porto. Bukayo Saka it was with that foul. It was a foul, fair enough. But yeah, I think Porto will make the most of any little challenge that comes in, absolutely. And we need to be careful of that, don't we? One, because we don't want to get too many yellow cards, and also as well, giving away set pieces, free kicks in and around the penalty area is going to potentially be dangerous. You know, I say I don't know too much about many of these Porto players, but I'm pretty sure they'll have one or two players who can hit a free kick. Anyway, they're trying to come forward now on this near side. He looks quite dangerous down this side, this player here, doesn't he? Number 13. Who is Galeno, Brazilian. He looks pretty lively, doesn't he? He's caused us a few little problems on that side already in the early stages of this game. So we'll have to see how that develops. I think he quite fancies his chances against Ben White for pace. Certainly, Galeno. He's going to take this throw, actually. The Brazilian winger for Porto, as they look to try and get the early breakthrough here. Pepe, the captain Pepe, is right in that box as well. Has he got a long throw? It's quite a long throw. It's a 6-yard box. It's headed away, though, by Gabriel, and then Bukayo Saka completes the clearance. It only comes back to Porto, though. And the ball's going to go back to the goalkeeper, comes right out of his goal and plays a long ball forward again, looking up this near side. That seems to be where Porto want to play, down their left. Maybe they feel that Ben White is the target there for them with Galeno on this side of the pitch. Maybe they feel as though he's got the beating of him, but we'll see. He certainly looks quick, the Brazilian, doesn't he? So that's going to be something we'll need to watch for as this game progresses. That could be where Porto are going to be dangerous, but we'll see. The ball's now back with the goalkeeper, Costa, for Porto, all in black. Just plays it up this near side, and Porto just trying to keep some possession. That's a ball up this near side again. And again, Galeno's there trying to cause us some problems, but he runs into trouble there with Declan Rice. And in fact, Declan Rice has won a free kick. Doesn't seem to be that yellow card, so it doesn't seem to have dampened Declan Rice's enthusiasm to win a tackle, does it? He's certainly still getting stuck in there. But he's, of course, going to have to be careful, isn't he, as the game goes on. And I wouldn't be at all surprised later on if we see maybe Jorginho coming on for him. Because that, the danger of that red card looms, doesn't it? He's got booked so early in a game. You know, we played 30 minutes now. Martin Odegaard, a little bit of space on his near side, plays the ball forward to Bukayo Saka, touches it off to Ben White, and now it's back with Martin Odegaard again, and he plays it square across to Jacob Kiwior, the Pole, coming to the side in recent games, doing well, isn't he? Really well. It's back with Martin Odegaard again. Now it's with Declan Rice, plays up to Bukayo Saka. This is good from Arsenal. Nice possession. Is it going to lead to an effort at goal? Bukayo Saka plays the ball out. In fact, it goes back to Gabriel. Now it's with William Saliba inside the Declan Rice inside the centre circle. Pings the ball up this near side to Ben White. Heads it in field. Not a great header that was. It's cleared away by Porto. They're going to look dangerous on the counter attack, you feel. But Declan Rice is in there again, winning the ball. Really good play from him there. He won it off Ivan Nilsson. And now Arsenal can come forward over on that far side with Gabriel Martinelli. Not seen too much of the ball yet, has he? The young Brazilian's in good form, of course, for Arsenal. In fact, everyone's in good form at the moment, aren't they? The last, 5 Premier League games, 5 wins in a row. The only disappointment since the turn of the year, of course, was that FA Cup defeat to Liverpool, where you have to say we were a bit unfortunate to lose that game when, the way we played, the chances that we had. But it's certainly been great in the Premier League, hasn't it? 5 wins in a row. It's kept us tucked away nicely, hasn't it, in that title race? Of course, Man City did go above us last night by beating Brentford. at the Etihad. So we are currently in third place, but we're still right in there, aren't we? Of course, Liverpool are playing Luton tonight, and Luton were winning, but we'll look at that game maybe at half time. Arsenal in possession now, trying to look for a breakthrough. Nick Nack says Arsenal not taking any risks so far. No, we're not. And you don't do away from home in the first leg of a knockout game in Europe. You just want to keep it tight. Kai Havertz on the ball. He's not much of the ball, has he, so far? Over on that far side, he's done well actually there. Finds Declan Rice, plays it into Martin Odegaard, who's closed down quickly, a little bit too quickly there by Pepe, and the referee has given a free kick to Arsenal. Terry says, Nick Nack restarted 29, ain't that a risk? Well, Arteta doesn't see it as a risk, does he? Obviously, because he plays him quite a lot. And it was Pepe there. Or he just stood on Martin Odegaard's foot. Whether he meant that or not, I'm not sure. But he's certainly an aggressive player, isn't he? Pepe, the Porto captain. I say he must be about 40 years old. You would imagine he's been around for years, hasn't he? He really has, and he's very good player as well, isn't he? He's done it all in the game, hasn't he? Pepe, of course, won the Euros with Portugal, didn't he? A few years ago. Anyway, it's a free kick to Arsenal now, and over on that far side. There seems to be Martin Odegaard over it. Declan Rice is over it. Leandro Trossard is over it as well. It's maybe too far out for a shot, you feel. It's about, 12 yards outside the penalty area. It's going to be Declan Rice. It is going to be Declan Rice. He's been taking a lot of set pieces, hasn't he? Since we went to Dubai, we've come back and they've put Declan Rice on set piece duty. And he went to take that one and then stopped. And Arsenal got players offside, but no doubt they'll all run back into the line as a free kick comes in. In fact, they do. Goalkeeper comes and punches well, actually. In fact, there's a foul. Was it Ben White in there? And the referee, who's definitely in control of this game. You can't say that he's not in control of this game. He definitely is, isn't he? He's making his presence felt. And that was a good ball into the box there. And in fact, a Porto player went down. It was, in fact, Pepe. And the goalkeeper punched clear well. But it is a free kick. And here we go. Terry says 41. Well, there you go. He's 41. Incredible that he's still playing at the top level in European football at 41. That is amazing, isn't it? So fair play to him for, keeping himself fit and in shape and motivated, because, it's difficult, isn't it? As you get older, you lose a little bit of pace. You lose a little bit of what you had maybe. But he's obviously worked really, really hard, and not many players are still playing at the top level at 41, are they? And so fair play to him, actually. That is great stuff, isn't it? From Pepe, the Portuguese defender, captain of Porto. Anyway, Arsenal coming forward now. It's been quite a tactical game so far, hasn't it? Arsenal had a lot more of the possession, as you would expect, without really ever looking like we were likely to score. The ball there was switched over to the far side from Martin Odegaard to Martinelli, but he couldn't keep it in. It is a throw to the host. It is Porto 0, Arsenal 0. We've played 18 minutes here, and still we're waiting for the first shot at goal from either side. It's been that sort of game so far. Very, very close game. Anyway, Declan Rice has just won the ball. Does he? No, he hasn't, because the referee has said no. And the referee's almost saying, you're going to have to be careful, Declan. You've won a yellow card. He's committed 2 fouls since he's booked him. And I think he's basically on his last warning, maybe, Declan now. It looked like a decent tackle. It looked like he won the ball. But when you've been booked, the referee clearly has got his cards ready again, hasn't he? And I think Declan's going to have to just watch himself. Anyway, Porto trying to come forward out this near side. Good defensive header by Ben White. Well, actually, it wasn't a good defensive header, because it's come straight to Porto player. They've now got a counter-attack here. They've got an opportunity over on this far side, inside the penalty area. Good feet inside the box there. Almost a foul, actually. But Arsenal get away with that. And it's going to be a cross that goes into the arms of the goalkeeper, David Raya. But suddenly there, Porto look good on a counter-attack, don't they? They want to move the ball quickly when they get it. Almost causes us a problem there. And in the end, the cross was deflected into the arms of David Raya. Nick Nack says, don't want to lose Deck for the second leg. We don't lose it for this game either, do we? Let's be honest. If he gets sent off down to 10 men here, it would be really difficult, wouldn't it? But yeah, and I said before, he'd be suspended for the second leg. So no, we definitely don't want to see that happening. So it's something to keep an eye on here, isn't it? Maybe Mikel Arteta might have to be a little bit smart later on in this game and maybe take him off and bring Jorginho on just for that reason, to prevent that second yellow card. It's a long time, isn't it, to go in when you're in that heart of midfield battle trying to win the ball, you've got to go 90 minutes on a yellow card. It's tough, isn't it, to avoid that second yellow? So I do think that might have an impact in this game as we go along into the second half potentially, but we'll see. I'm certainly worried that if he commits another foul, Deck, the referee might not be so forgiving as he was in the last one, when you could clearly see he was saying to him, wasn't he, that's 2 now. And he's not going to let him get away with any more, you feel. Anyway, the pitch does seem a little bit slippy. Players from both sides don't always seem to be keeping their feet particularly well. Whether Porto were watching what Liverpool did at Anfield and they watered the pitch a bit heavier, but Porto players are slipping over as well. It's not just the Arsenal players. So I don't see how that's an advantage, really. Anyway, we come back towards the midway point in this first half. Porto 0, Arsenal 0. No real opportunities for either side yet. The game's yet to really spark to life, but Porto now coming forward, and they do inject some pace when they get over the halfway line, don't they? This is enterprising play in midfield, but the pass wasn't great. Martin Odegaard's cut it out, and now Porto have been forced back. Nick Nack says, could just be they've had a lot of rain. Yeah, it could be they've had a lot of rain. I don't know what the weather's been like in Portugal. We've had a lot of rain, haven't we? So it could be everywhere. But anyway, not this week so much. A little bit of rain today. But anyway, Porto coming forward again over on this far side. Can they get across into the near post? They do. Gabriel's there. It's not really cleared away. And Porto have scored, have they? No, they haven't. They've missed. Oh, I thought they'd gone in. How on earth did that not go in? I do not know. We've had a let off there. That was a big chance there for Porto to take lead. That is the first shot at goal as well. It was a good move, actually, from Porto over on that far side. They worked this well. They worked it really well. It was a decent cross to the near post. Gabriel at first was full stretch, and Arsenal didn't really do particularly well. And the first shot did the first shot hit the post, or did it just go wide and bounce back? Very strange sequence of events there. Came into there, and Arsenal were asleep at the back. In fact, it was a save. Was it a save by Raul? Did it hit the crossbar? Wow, and the rebound was put wide. That was a let-off there. Really let-off there. Nick Nack says there, first opening of the game for either team. It was. And Nick Nack says, how does he miss? Well, I don't know how he missed. In fact, I didn't think he had missed. I thought they'd scored. Terry says, how the hell ain't we 1-0 down? Well, I honestly don't know. That is incredible. Missed that, actually. He's put it wide from, 4 yards with an open goal. And he's fired wide. That was quite incredible, actually. And a big let-off that was for Arsenal. The first effort of goal, as we said, has led to a big chance there for Porto to take the lead. And luckily for us, they missed it. And what a miss that was, in fact, incredible. I say I was convinced it had gone in. I was surprised when it bounced behind the goal. It almost looked impossible to miss, didn't it? But it does go to show, what I just said before, when Porto come forward, they do inject a lot of pace into the game. And they're making it difficult. It was, in fact, that Galano who missed his. The first shot there actually hit the post. And then the second one on the volley from 3 yards out, he's put it wide. That is incredible. Actually, you see the replay of that. It was incredible. The ball at the outside of the other post, it came back to him. And he's hit it on the volley. And wow. Nick Nack says the rebound was the harder chance. It probably was because it came at him so quickly. But he was, 2 or 3 yards out. And surely from there, you should be scoring. Let's be honest. That's a big miss. They're both big misses. He'll be disappointed he didn't score either of them. But yeah, that second one, it came at him quite quickly. He didn't have a lot of time to think, did he? But he's got to put that in for me. You've got to score that, really. Anyway, Porto have now got a free kick inside the centre circle, which they've taken quickly. And they're going to try and come forward again. They seem to play the ball slowly, move it slowly inside their own half. And then they get into Arsenal's half and really do put the burners on, don't they, and start moving it quickly and moving through the gears. And they've also got a free kick now. Martin Odegaard has just been fouled. And there's certainly been more fouls in this opening 24 minutes and shots at goal, because there's only been one shot. Well, 2 shots technically there that both came from that one attack. And they both fell to the Brazilian Galano there, who should have scored at least one of them. And that is a big moment in this game, maybe. And who knows, it could be it could prove to be a decisive moment in this game as well. Because had Porto scored and gone in the lead, it would have been really tough, wouldn't it, for us to come back from that in these difficult European away games. So that let off there may well be a really big moment in this game, and possibly in this Champions League campaign as well. Anyway, Gabriel has just been fouled there by Francesco, and now Arsenal come forward with Martinelli over on that far side. He's going to have one at João Mario. He's gone past him, puts a cross in. Nobody's there in the 6-yard box for Arsenal. That is where you feel that, you know, people saying, oh, we scored all these goals this season. We're what, second top scorers in the Premier League, wherever we are. You know, people say, oh, we don't need a centre forward now. But it was moments like that there when that cross came in from Martinelli over on that far side. A centre forward, a goal scorer, an actual proper goal scoring centre forward makes that run into the box to try and get on the end of it. There was no Arsenal player there. It was easy for Porto to defend that. And unless Saka comes across and gets into that centre forward position, no one else is there. And it is an issue. Whatever anybody says, you know, however many goals that we score, we would score a hell of a lot more if we had that goal scorer who's in that box there to get on the end of those chances. It's a fact we would. And in some games, that's going to be crucial, isn't it? You know, in games where we maybe struggle to score, that's when that centre forward, that natural goal scorer, that's when they win you. That's when they win your big trophies, by getting those important goals, isn't it? It doesn't matter when you beat Burnley 5-0 away and when you beat West Ham 6-0 away, but when you've got the games that are tight in that, when it's 0-0, 1-1, and you need a goal. Anyway, a free kick from Martin Odegaard, a little bit flat there, but it's headed away. It's going to be a corner though to Arsenal. It was Varela there who put that away. Terry says that was a great one and crossed by Nelly. It was a great cross, and that's what I mean. You'd expect someone, if you've made that run down that wing and you put that cross in. You know, I've played left wing in my time, and if you do that, you put that ball in, you expect there to be someone getting on the end of it, or at least challenging to get on the end of it. There was nobody there, and it was just easy for Porto to clear that away. Anyway, it's a corner to Arsenal. The first corner of the game is on this near side, so Bukayo Saka is going to take it. The referee is not happy about something. He's not been very happy since the game started, really, has he? And is it Ben White he's going to have a word with here? In fact, the player from each team, not quite sure what that's all about. But anyway, the referee was going to speak to the two players here. It was Varela and White before this corner comes in from Bukayo Saka from this near side. There's a lot of jostling about there inside the penalty area. And Saka is going to take this corner. We've been very dangerous from set pieces, haven't we, recently? And there's a lot of pushing and shoving in that 6-yard box. Anything could happen from this corner, you feel. Anyway, Bukayo Saka puts it in towards the near post, but it's straight into the arms of the goalkeeper, Costa, who does well. Greg says, yeah, totally agree. You can't expect to win trophies without a central striker. Yeah, exactly. I just really, really feel strongly about it, really, and especially with this team, the way that we play. You know, you can see the difference that, you know, Man City, of course, did win league titles without a natural striker, if you like. But look at the difference that Haaland's made to them. You know, suddenly now they've got an outlet, haven't they? They've got a focal point in attack. And when he plays, you know, look at the goal he got last night. You know, had he not been playing, had they not had him, they might have drawn that game 0-0, drop points, and this is going to happen to us, isn't it? There's going to be games like that we play when teams have that low block and stuff like that, you know, and that's when you get those 1-0 wins, don't you? That Man City did last night, and that's probably something that we are not going to always be able to do enough, I feel, to get the points that we need. But we'll see. While the goals are being so spread around at the moment, it's difficult to kind of sort of think about it too much. But you've got to look at the overall long-term picture for me. And a natural goal-scoring centre forward wins your games, big games. That's when they get you the goals, don't they? You know, look what Ian Wright did for us. You know, how many important goals did he score for us? Won us games that maybe we had no right to win sometimes as well, you know, and that's what happens. Arsenal coming forward now looking to try and score a goal, but it was a ball there from Kai Havertz. Wasn't the greatest ball, actually. It was well cut out by João Mario, and that is with Martinelli over on that far side, plays it back in field to Jacob Kiwior, and that's with Declan Rice. Arsenal are playing well in this game. We've played nearly half an hour. It's been a good half an hour from Arsenal, but we haven't created anything yet at all. Their goalkeeper hasn't really had a shot to save, has he? Just that corner there that he had to come and collect, which was quite comfortable for him. So that's what's lacking here, isn't it? A cutting edge. But when you're away from home in a knockout European game, yes, there's no away goals anymore, so that doesn't come into effect too much. But when you're away from home, I suppose the important thing is that you come away with a result, don't you? Anyway, Arsenal coming forward now. Bukayo Saka on this near side. It wasn't a great ball to him, actually, for Martin Odegaard, but he has managed to get it under control and plays it back to William Saliba, gets it back again. Nick Nack says, yeah, the Porto defence look very organised. They do, yeah, they do look very organised. But then they've got Pepe at the back there, he's been there and done it before, hasn't he? He knows what he's doing, organising them there. And they do look very solid at the back. Absolutely, they do. But we haven't done enough, have we, yet to get them turning and facing their own goal and getting in behind them yet. We haven't managed to find that little spark, have we, in that final third? And this is something that has been a criticism maybe of this team. Obviously not in the last few games, of course not, because we've been scoring goals, haven't we? But yeah, we've not as Nick Nack says, yeah, need to ask more questions. Exactly, yeah, we need to ask more. We haven't asked any questions really, have we? Just that one cross there from Martinelli, which nobody was following in. So yeah, we definitely do. But it's only half an hour in the first leg of a European tie, knockout tie away from home. Satisfied is what I would say. I think it's a satisfactory Arsenal performance. We're playing well. We're looking decent in possession without creating anything yet. But a draw here would be a decent result. We would all be delighted with that, I'm sure. But you do feel as though the way this game's been playing out in his opening 30 minutes, that Porto are there for the taking. You feel as though if we can start getting, moving the ball a little bit quicker in that final third, you feel as though we can start getting a few chances and get a goal or two. I think they're there for us, aren't they? But yeah, we don't need to take risks, do we? We just need to, keep the way that we played. Our shape's good. And yeah, let's just keep going. And, I say a 0-0 draw might not be the most exciting evening that we'll have, but it'll be a very, very good result for us, wouldn't it? Going forward into that second leg at the Emirates in a few weeks' time, which is going to be a very, very... it's a big occasion, isn't it, to be a knockout game in the Champions League again, the first one since 2017. And we all know what happened in that one, don't we? That game against Bayern Munich. Who thought at that time? I remember watching that game, and we lost 5-1, but unlucky, wasn't we? We had a I think it was Lauren Koscielny got sent off, and I think we actually led 1-0, didn't we? I think Theo Walcott scored. We'd already lost the first leg 5-1, so it wasn't like we were going to go through or anything like that. But and of course, Bayern Munich ended up winning that night 5-1, and I don't think any of us really thought that would be the last time we would play in a Champions League knockout game for all these years. I certainly didn't. You always, because we'd been in it for like 20 odd years, 21 years, whatever it was, we just assumed and expected that's what we would do. We would always be in the Champions League. And that's kind of what we kind of thought, didn't we? So we never, I'd say that night, never imagined that was going to be our last Champions League knockout game at the Emirates for all these years. Anyway, Arsenal are coming forward now, and the shot comes in from the edge of the box, from Leandro Trossard, but it's gone high and wide into the crowd behind the goal. Greg says, yeah, we need a good old-fashioned striker like Radford. Well, yeah, I think a player like John Radford, as great as he was, probably is a little bit outdated now, his style of centre-forward. But we certainly need an out. I mean, I would love Ivan Toney. I really, really would. I think he's a brilliant player. And he would score goals. He can score goals in the Premier League. And I think in this team, with what we create, he would be fantastic for us, wouldn't he? He would be my choice. He's physical. And anyway, Porto coming forward here. Oh, and Arsenal actually almost play ourselves into trouble there with Ben White at the back, but we do get away with it. And now on a counter-attack, Gabriel Martinelli is going to have a run at the 41-year-old Pepe. And Pepe's done well, actually, to hold him up. And now he's moved back into his position, and Martinelli has to play the ball to Martin Ødegaard. Now it's with Saka. And then Saka now is going to have a run on this near side inside the penalty area. Bukayo Saka's in great form at the moment, isn't he, in front of goal? 4 goals in his last 2 games, of course. Can he get to the byline? He does. The cross comes in, it's deflected onto the top of the crossbar. And Arsenal still looking for that goal, but Porto clear it away. In fact, it must have gone out of play because it's going to be a corner to Arsenal because the cross from Bukayo Saka got deflected. It must have gone behind and bounced back in again there. Let's have a look at the replay. Oh, yeah, it clearly did. It clearly went out, bounced back in and came off top of the crossbar. And that was that. Terry says, talking of Bayern, it's good to see. It looks like Harry Kane ain't going to win anything again. He's just lucky, isn't he? He's so lucky, isn't he? Nick Nack says, yeah, probably did go out. I think it did. It is a corner anyway to Arsenal, so it's actually worked out better for us. And Bukayo Saka is going to take this one again from the near side, our second corner. Again, there's a lot of pushing and shoving going on inside the penalty area, which the referee doesn't like. He's not standing for any nonsense, is he, this referee? He is dealing with things. Maybe a little bit overly fussy, perhaps slightly, but he's certainly in control, isn't he? He's making his presence felt here with the players. Everyone knows what's going on. And he was basically saying they cut that out. It was the other Pepe with Martinelli there. Two Brazilians, of course, because he's a Brazilian, this little Pepe, not the other Pepe. So there's two Pepes, which I'm sure they just put Pepe on a team sheet just to scare Mikel Arteta, because he probably thought, oh, it's my old player, Nicolas Pepe. Anyway, headed out the far post. Oh, that was a big chance. William Saliba, I think it was, scored, of course, recently at West Ham, and he got cleared out of the far post. Porto were claiming he fouled the defender as he got up there, but he's headed it wide anyway. There was a lot of pushing and shoving there, actually, at that back post. And in the end, Saliba has got on the end of it, but he couldn't direct it towards the goal. And it is a goal kick. Mark C says, Mr. Drama, the referee is, yeah, really, he's definitely in control, isn't he? He's going to make sure he stays in control, isn't he? So, you know, fair play to him, I guess. Nathan says it makes a change when the refs in the Premier League. Well, it does, yeah. I actually quite like him. He's fussy a little bit, but he's getting the job done, isn't he? And I think he's refereed the game fairly well so far. Nick Nack says doesn't seem to be the Arsenal players doing the pushing. No, it doesn't. No, the Porto players are trying to unsettle us in the box, aren't they? Move us around a little bit, and you know that's their physical style of defending, isn't it? And so far it's worked, you have to say, because we haven't really been too threatening from those situations. When we've got a free kick now. Or have Porto got a free kick? I'm not quite sure who he's given that to. It was Martinelli was involved for Arsenal inside the centre circle. It looks like it might be a free kick to Porto on the back of that. It's been a little bit of a stoppy-starty game. Yeah, I think Martinelli did lead with his arm there, not intentionally, but he has caught him now. And Nick Nack says there, that 1 minute yellow card showed him who's boss. Yeah, it did. And maybe that's what referees need to do more, because quite often they won't show a yellow card, will they, early in the game? Whatever the challenge is like. Not very often they don't. And maybe players see that and think, well, you know what, I can stick a few tackles in now or whatever it is. Whereas tonight, you're right, and the referee straight away, the first tackle of the game, it was a yellow card. I don't think there's any doubt. It was definitely a yellow card. And he's got it out early on, and I like that. I said it at the time, and it's good refereeing. And it does mean that the players now know they're not going to be able to get away with some of the things that often you can. And you know what these Brazilians and Portuguese are like? They try and get away with things, don't they? And the referee so far is not really having it, is he? But it is a free kick to Porto inside the centre circle, which they've taken quickly. Well, they haven't really progressed the ball up the pitch much, but they are going to now have on that far side. Now ball comes into the box, a low cross. It was cut out there by Gabriel. It was more up than out, really, but Arsenal still trying to get the ball clear. Martin Odegaard runs into a bit of trouble there. He's pushed off the ball a little bit too easily. Shot comes in from distance. Oh, wasn't a bad effort, actually. Gone just over the top of the crossbar. It was a defender there coming forward. Nico. It was, the defender Nico there with that effort. Just always wide rising there, wasn't it? David Raya pretty much had that covered anyway. But it's another shot at goal, and all the shots at goal are coming from the home team in this first half. Not many of them, we have to say, but they've looked more threatening. Arsenal have more possession, but Porto have certainly been more direct, and they've certainly looked more dangerous going in that final third, haven't they? In these opening 38 minutes that we've played. And yeah, Arsenal have got a bit of work to do, you feel, if we're going to kind of get the result here tonight. Anyway, it's a throw on this near side, which I think has gone the way of Porto. Ben White was about to take it for Arsenal, but the referee again saying, no, I'm going to make these decisions. And he's given it to Porto. Seems quite a warm evening in Porto, though. Mikel Arteta is wearing a coat. The Porto manager, isn't it? He's got a jumper on. Looks really smart, doesn't he? But I suppose he's more used to the weather in Portugal, isn't he? But I'm guessing it'll be a lot warmer than it is in the UK at the moment. Well, we've had mild temperatures for February, to be fair. Nick Nack says it's about 15 degrees. Is it? Well, I mean, that's great, isn't it? I'd love it to be 15 degrees here. I say, to be fair, we've had sort of 9, 10, 11 degrees, so we've not been too bad here. But for February, it's good, I suppose. But I can't wait for the spring to come properly. Nick Nack says heading for a 0-0 the way it's going. Yeah, at the moment it is. In fact, you'd say it's almost heading for a 1-0 Porto victory, because they look more dangerous, likely to score, don't they? Regenda says there, but Porto have not had a card. Well, no, we've only had that one, haven't we? But I don't think Porto have made an obvious yellow card challenge, have they? I don't think we have either, apart from that first one. So I think the referee's done okay. I don't think that, I don't think there's been a yellow card offence really since that very first one. Anyway, David Raya plays the ball out to that far side. to Jacob. Kiwior heads it back to Gabriel. We're coming up to the last 5 minutes of this first half. Very, very tight, cagey game, isn't it? So Arsenal probably do have edged the possession, you feel, maybe 65% potentially. We'll have a look later and see what the half-time possession stats are. But say Porto have had the two big opportunity. Well, say one big opportunity. That actually it was two opportunities in one, wasn't it? And they had a shot just a few moments ago that flew over the top of the crossbar as well. They are coming forward again over on that far side. That's a nice back heel inside. Box shot comes in. David Raya is forced into a save down to his right-hand side at that near post. Comfortable save, though, you feel, for any decent goalkeeper. And it is going to be now a free kick to Arsenal. But that was a good little bit of play again from Porto. A lovely little back heel there it was. Really clever little back heel. The ball came there to Ivan Ilson there, and a shot. It was on target, but it was fairly comfortable save, wasn't it, from David Raya? You feel that any goalkeeper worth his salt should be saving that, and he did. But that's another effort for Porto. They've had all the chances in this first half. And, yeah, it's quite a tactical game, isn't it? And so far, so good. I think both teams will be reasonably happy with this first half. Arsenal, because we haven't really, we've never really looked like conceding apart from that one chance. And we've looked pretty comfortable in possession. I'm sure Mikel Arteta would have wanted us to have created one or two more opportunities. And I think from Porto's perspective, you can see what they're setting out to do. They're setting out to allow us possession and then looking to counter with the pace and quality that they've got. So it's quite an interesting game without really catching fire. Anyway, Martin Odegaard now plays it to Saka on this near side. Bukayo Saka is going to play the ball back to the edge of the box to Martin Odegaard again. And now he's got Ben White on the overlap. Ben White puts a cross in. It's deflected behind by Wendell. And it is going to be a corner again to Arsenal. Porto have had all the shots at goal. We've had all the corners. And that's sort of where we are with this game. It is Porto 0, Arsenal 0. We've played 41 minutes. So coming down towards the last few moments here of this first half, which has been interesting rather than exciting. And not an awful lot has happened. But there's still time, of course, for a goal in this first half. Maybe we'll get it here from this corner, Bukayo Saka. Let's see if we can get the goal here. Again, there's a bit of pushing and shoving going on. Bukayo Saka's corner into the near post, headed out. Going to come back to Saka, though, on this near side. Lines up across again with his left foot. Now goes around the outside. Gets across with his right foot. But again, it's deflected behind. And it's going to be another corner to Arsenal. That was João Mario there with that particular block. And Arsenal got another corner on this near side. Mark C says, mix it up on the corners. Yeah, maybe do mix it up on the corners. Indeed. Journeyman, we were saying, good to see you again. Hope you are well, enjoying the Champions League knockout game, which is good, isn't it? Finally seeing Arsenal at this stage of the Champions League. It's been a long time coming. Anyway, this corner is going to come in again from Bukayo Saka. Again, it's to the far post. Again, it's an Arsenal header. Again, it's William Saliba. And it's gone into the side netting. And two Porto players have gone down. It's going to be a free kick to Porto. They're doing all the pushing the Porto players, and then they're falling over. There you go. Nick Nat says there are 4 Porto players on the floor. Yeah, it was like synchronised diving, wasn't it? They all just fell over all at the same time. It was Kai Havertz at the far post, and all the Portugal players are down, and Porto players are down. Nick Nack says they need to try short corners for sure. Just something a bit different. Yeah, I don't know about short corners necessarily, but just something a bit different because we've not really threatened, have we? All those corners that we've had, we've not really threatened at all. It's been fairly comfortable for Porto to deal with them. Anyway, Porto in position again. I say it's almost like there's two different Porto teams on the pitch. You've got the very slow, methodical, defensive Porto team, and then you've got the very quick attacking Porto team, and the ball's at the other end of the pitch. And it's quite a contrast, actually, the way that they play. I say in their own half, they're quite happy to just slow passing backwards, and then suddenly bang in the attacking half, and they move it quickly with pace. And that's maybe caught us out a couple of times, hasn't it? That's what's led to their chances that they've had. And it's quite an interesting style of play, isn't it? Actually, it's quite enjoyable in some ways. But yeah, it's certainly something different, isn't it? We don't see too many teams play like this in the Premier League, do you? Probably because they don't have the players to do so on that counter attack, maybe. Anyway, Mark C says there, do the old Adams bold near post flick on corner. Yeah, I mean, they used to work well, didn't they? We got a lot of big goals, didn't we? With that combination. But Smith scored a few, didn't he, for them flick-ons as well? He used to attack them, didn't he? if Tony Adams didn't score, I mean, generally Alan Smith would score, wouldn't he, from them type of situations? But yeah, that was a good tactic at the time. Well, I'm not sure it maybe worked so well these days. I don't know. You do see the odd goal like that, don't you? Still, I saw one the other week in the Premier League. I can't remember who scored it now, and I'm thinking, oh, that was a 1980s goal. Anyway, Saka coming forward now. Can Arsenal get the lead in the final minute of this first half? Saka on the edge of the box tries a shot, deflected, and Porto do clear the ball away. And they've also won a throw there on this near side into the last 30 seconds of the 45. There might be a bit of stoppage time, not too much. There's not really been any hold-ups, has there? Just a few times where the referees got involved at corners and stuff like that. But overall, it's been it's flowed the game pretty quickly, hasn't it? Even though there's been a distinct lack of Arsenal chances, certainly. Maybe just chances in general. Anyway, the ball's just gone out there. And it is another corner to Arsenal. We must have had 6-7 corners in this first half. Is this going to be the one that creates the goal right at the very end? Nick Nack says, it's a tighter game than I expected. Credit to Porto's tactics, I think. Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected a tight game, if I'm honest. I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near like the recent away games that we've seen in the Premier League for Arsenal. I knew it was going to be a difficult game tonight. I'm not totally surprised it's this tight, but Porto surprised me the way they played it. I think they've played well. Yeah, you're right. Their tactics have been good. I think they've been very strong defensively, as you said, and I say they look lively on the attack, don't they, when they get the chance. So this game, we're certainly going to have a lot more work to do in the second half if we're going to get a result here, that's for sure. Anyway, we've got a corner. Maybe we can get a goal. There's going to be 1 minute of stoppage time, which we've played most of that already. There's getting some pushing and shoving in the box. The corner comes in. A header at the far post again. The same routine. This time it was Kai Havertz at that far post with a header. He had his haircut, actually, Kai Havertz. He looks quite smart. That's gone behind for a goal kick, and that will probably be the final action of this first half, actually. Again, they're very physical, Porto from the corner, but that's a poor header, actually. He had a bit more time there, Kai Havertz. Maybe he could have directed it across the goal from where it came, and it may well have caused the Porto defence a little bit more problems. Instead, it's just gone behind another goal kick, and that will probably be that, won't it? Mark C says faking injury. Well, that's what they've been doing, haven't they? I think Nick says these corners aren't working. Even if it does go in the net, the ref will give a free kick spot. Yeah, he probably will, yeah. And in fact, there goes the half-time whistle. It is 0-0 here in Portugal at the break. And yes, it's been an interesting first half, hasn't it? Hasn't really, I say the game hasn't really sparked yet, has it? Porto have set out to be solid defensively and play on a counter-attack. Arsenal doing what Arsenal do. A lot of possession, a lot of sideways passing, trying to probe for that opening, but haven't had a shot on target in that first half. In fact, haven't had a shot, a goal at all. The best moment we had was when Martinelli got clear down that left-hand side and put a really good ball in that no one was attacking. Other than that, we've not threatened at all, and the corners aren't working as we've said. And Porto had 2 or 3 opportunities, didn't they? One really big chance that somehow, we still don't know how Galeno didn't put one of those in. The first one hit the inside of the post, and then the second one he put wide from about 4 yards. So, yeah, very strange that was. But, yeah, they've been more threatening. We've had more possession, but it's 0-0 at the break. And I think we'll be reasonably happy with that, won't we? I think we'll take a 0-0 at the break in this type of a game. And, yeah, we've got work to do in the second half if we're going to come out on top and win this game, or even get a draw. I think we're going to have to work really hard still. There's a lot to play for still here in this first leg. And, you know, the way Porto have set up tonight, the second leg's going to be just as difficult, isn't it? I don't think we can say the second leg at the Emirates is going to be easy, not judging by what we've seen so far. Nick Nack says there's 70% possession, but only 4 attempts, all from corners, nothing on target. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not really calling them attempts. I suppose they are, those headers that went wide from the corners. But yeah, Terry says, kettle on, putting the bins out, and I'll be back. Yeah, well, yeah, do that at half time. Exactly. That's the best. That is the best time to do it, isn't it? Yeah, get those bins out. Our bins went this morning, so we've had ours done. Our bins come on a Wednesday. So there you go, which is always good, isn't it? So yeah, not the most exciting half of football, but this is European Champions League knockout stage. You know, you're not going to always get free-flowing football, are you? You're going to always get quite cagey games, and I think that's what we're seeing here. But, you know, I'm reasonably satisfied with how we played there. I thought we played reasonably well. We looked comfortable. Yeah, 1 or 2 sloppy passes here and there, and, of course, that big chance. We could easily be 1-0 down at half-time. Maybe we should be 1-0 down at half time, if we're totally honest. But anyway, we're not, and that's the main thing, isn't it? Now, of course, in the Premier League, Liverpool have just overturned that defeat against Luton. They were 1-0 down at half time. Ogbene scored for Luton, but Van Dijk and Gakpo have scored twice in 2 minutes. Very quickly there, Liverpool now lead 2-1. And that's kind of what happens, isn't it? That's how these teams, Liverpool, Man City, this is how they keep, they don't always necessarily play the best, but they grind out results. And, that's something that we are going to have to learn to do now, aren't we, in the rest of this season? Because just because we've had a couple of big wins, that's not going to be the way it's going to be when we get to the end of March into April. Games are going to be a lot tighter, and that's when we're going to have to find a way to win these games in the way that Man City did last night, in the way that Liverpool are doing tonight. And that's what champions have to do. And if we want to think about winning the league, we're going to have to find a way to win those type of games when things aren't going our way, when we're maybe losing or we can't find a goal. And let's see how that goes. But that's still the question mark for me when the pressure's on, because I say last season we saw what happened, and we've seen it in the 2 previous seasons as well, haven't we? When the pressure's been on, and hopefully this year will be different. A year older, the players are a year older, the manager's a year older, learning from those experiences from last season, and let's hope that we get the benefit of it as we go into the really big part of the season coming up, isn't it? We've got the Champions League, this is so exciting, and of course we've got the Premier League as well. But we can't expect, can we, other teams like Liverpool, Man City necessarily to be dropping points. We can't expect that or rely on that. We've just got to do our job, and our job is to win as many games as we can that we've got left. We've got a few winnable games to come before we travel to Man City, and it's important that we pick up as many points as we can, because we've seen, haven't we, this week that Liverpool and Man City aren't going to drop too many points, are they? They're not. They've got to play each other. We've got to play Man City. They're going to be the big games, aren't they? Those 2 games. If Man City win both of those 2 games, if they beat Liverpool, beat us, you do feel as though that's probably going to be the title for Man City, don't you? I don't think either of us will be able to recover from that. But if Liverpool beat Man City, if we beat Man City, then maybe that's Man City out of it, and it's us and Liverpool battling away for it. So, or if Liverpool beat Man City, if Man City beat Liverpool, we then beat Man City, maybe that puts Liverpool out of it and puts us in control. So lots of exciting stuff to come, isn't there, for the rest of this season? But let's see how it goes. Greg says, thanks for reminding me, Terry, you haven't fed the message in the cage. Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to make sure that you keep them fed at least, haven't you? Otherwise, it's not pleasant, is it? It's not pleasant at all. So yeah, let's see what happens the rest of the season, because there's still lots of excitement to come, I'm sure. But yeah, so Luton haven't managed to hold on to that lead, and as things stand, Liverpool would be 4 points clear of Man City and 5 points clear of Arsenal, but we both have a game in hand, of course, on Liverpool. Not quite sure why that Luton game is being played tonight. Does anybody know why it's being played tonight? I know the Man City Brentford game was a game that was cancelled when they was playing in that World Club Championship thingy, wasn't it? I don't know why the Liverpool Luton game has been played tonight particularly. But anyway, not really sure. But I don't suppose it matters too much, really. It is what it is. And it is being played tonight. So, is it because of the FA Cup game, maybe? Is it because of an FA Cup game, maybe? Oh, the League Cup final, of course. What am I talking about? It's the League Cup final this weekend, isn't it? That'll be why. It would have been at the weekend, wouldn't it? And I suppose they've just moved it for the Cup final. Just showing that miss again, that double miss. And you have to say that was incredible how Porto haven't scored from that double chance. Have they really? But anyway, we'll take it, won't we? We'll take it. Nathan says, do you think the squad is deep enough and has enough quality? Well, no, you see, I don't think the squad does, no. And I've said this for quite a while. My worry is, and I said it tonight, as we look on the bench, we've got some solid players on the bench, people like, El Neni and Jorginho, who are solid, strong players that will shore things up. Have we really got much quality that's going to open up? Say tonight, Porto have got a very solid defence, as we've said. Do we have anyone on the bench that you think can come on and maybe make that difference? Eddie Nketiah, probably not. Emil Smith-Rowe, he's not sharp enough because he's not played enough football, so you'd have to say no. Reece Nelson, Not really. He's not going to scare anyone. If you bring Reece Nelson on, it's not going to scare that Porto defence. Not going to, oh my God, look who's coming on. You know what I mean? And we don't really have players like that, I don't think, on our bench, in our squad. Our first 11, 12, 13 players, obviously Jesus would probably be there, wouldn't he, if he was playing? And then maybe Trossard will be on the bench. He's that sort of player. But we don't really have the depth, absolutely not. If we want to, we can't expect to go through between now and the end of the season in the Premier League and in the Champions League with the same 11 players not being injured and hoping that we're just going to get through with these 11 players. That won't happen. There will be injuries. Players will have to miss games. The Champions League now, you get more midweek games again. We haven't had midweek games really, have we, for a while? So if we progress in the Champions League, it's going to be even harder, isn't it? But no, we don't have the depth. We don't have the depth in quality, no. And that's something that will need to be over the next couple of years, a year or two. Certainly, it's going to have to be sorted out. It's going to have to be put right, isn't it? Because if we are going to be continuing to challenge, it's going to have to get to a point where we're not just challenging anymore. We're actually winning things. And to win things, you do have to have a better quality on the bench to come off the bench and change games when you need to. Because you're not going to be, not all games are going to go like the West Ham game and the Burnley game, are they? Most games don't go like that. And that's when you need to have those players on the bench who can come on and make a real impact. And I don't feel we've got enough of that, if we've got any of it, really. With everybody fit, yes, we've got maybe Trossard to be on the bench. You could say possibly Havertz could be on the bench if, say, Partey was fit. So we've got a couple, but it's not enough depth, is it, for me? It's nowhere near enough. Mark C says, our first 11 is a good match for anyone, but beyond that, we lack top quality off the bench. Exactly, yeah. 100%, I agree with you. I do think our first 11 is very, very good. Of course it is. It's a settled team now, isn't it? This sort of, one or two changes here and there. The left back's still a slight concern, isn't it? I suppose no one's really nailed that down good enough yet. But other than that, pretty much the 11, yeah, it's a good 11, settled 11, and you can see the difference it makes. Greg, says we haven't got a real game changer at the call. No, we haven't, exactly. That's my worry. That's my point, that we don't, do we? I say, looking at the bench, and yeah, we've got some decent players on the bench, but they're not game changers, are they? They're not players that you could think to yourself, you'd be confident if you're losing, bring them on, and they're going to change the game, make an impact. We don't have that, do we? You're right. Nick Next says also the fringe players haven't had much action. Well, no, they don't, because the manager doesn't like to make the changes, does he? He likes his settled team. He doesn't trust, I don't think, he doesn't trust some of the squad players enough. So he's not playing them enough minutes, is he? And you're right. Players need to be playing competitive football. You can train as much as you like. Train every day. You can play matches in training, but it's not the same as playing actually competitive football, playing in a match. And if you're not playing for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, you're hardly playing, you're not going to be sharp. And when you do have to play, because maybe there's an injury, someone like Fabio Vieira might have to come back into the team. He's not played, and he's not going to be straight in. He's going to need 3 or 4 games, isn't he? Emil Smith-Rowe's a prime example. He'll probably need 3 or 4 games, but he doesn't get 3 or 4 games. He gets 1 game or maybe 2 games, and then the manager's thinking, well, he's not doing what I need him to do. Well, of course he's not, because he's not going to be sharp enough, is he? So then, of course, he's getting back left out of the team. He's back on the bench again, and he's back where he started. And that is the problem with a lot of these players. You're right, and they do need more time on the pitch. But it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if Mikel Arteta was to make 4 or 5 changes from Premier League game to Premier League game, we probably wouldn't keep winning in the way that we are. But probably not. But me personally, I think you've got to manage the squad better. When you haven't got the quality depth that maybe some of the other teams have got, then you've got to maybe manage it a little bit better. You've got to rotate 1 player here and there, or 2 players here and there every so often, just to give some of your fringe players minutes on the pitch, a lot of minutes on the pitch every so often. Don't make 4 or 5 changes, 1 or 2. So you just keep it fresh. And that's what maybe we need to do. My worry as well, of course, is central defence. If Saliba or Gabriel, or heaven forbid, both of them were to get injured in the run into the season, who would really be able to step in? Tomiyasu's been injured. We know he's not played for ages. He's been away, of course, as well. Yes, you could say Kiwior could drop in there. He could be centre-back. Ben White can be a centre-back. But, the drop down from Kiwior and Ben White, when you're looking at Saliba and Gabriel, that's a big come down, isn't it? If we had to play that as a partnership. And yes, it's a step up from Rob Holding that we had last season, but it's still not going to be good enough, is it, in a run into a title race or semi-finals of Champions League? If we had to play those players because everyone else was injured, it wouldn't. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? So yeah, I do worry about that. But we are where we are. You know, financial fair play and whatever means that we haven't been able to get the depth yet in the squad. I'm not sure if Mikel Arteta really wants it. I don't know what he would do. If Mikel Arteta had 4 or 5 game-changing players on the bench, would he be able to deal with it? These players that maybe will be knocking on his door saying, boss, I should be playing. I should be playing. Can he deal with it? I'm not sure if he wants that. I don't know. The evidence suggests he doesn't, because when he's had that type of squad, he's got rid of players, hasn't he? So I don't know. Greg says, we need another Perry Groves. I mean, Perry Groves was great at what he did, wasn't he? And he was that kind of super sub in a way, wasn't he? I mean, he'd come off the bench and score a goal. And he did it regularly, didn't he? Even he wasn't the most gifted player. He'll admit it himself. Of course he does. And he will do. But he came in and did a job, didn't he? And when you think, you know, sometimes I look at players, look at the talent that they've got, and you think to yourself, did that player make the most of the talent that they had? And a lot of players, you're quite disappointed because you think, I'm not sure if they did. You know, Arsenal players. But then you look at Perry Groves and you think, you know, for a player that was fairly limited in ability, look what he achieved in his career. He always gave 100%, didn't he, every time he played? And he didn't hide. He didn't. If he was having a bad game, he still wanted the ball and he'd still try it and do what he could do. And, you know, he's one player that certainly made the most of the talent that he had and made the most of the career that he had. And you have to say, he deserves a lot of credit for that. But we've obviously now we need better players than Perry Groves on our bench, don't we, to come on and make a difference. But somebody like him, yeah, absolutely. Nathan says Pedro Neto and Ivan Toney. I mean, Ivan Toney, 100%. I would take him all day long. I think he's brilliant. Pedro Neto's a great player, but his injury record is really, really bad, isn't it? He seems to get injured every season, and we have enough injury players as it is. So I'm not sure if he would be the answer necessarily. I think he's great, but I'm not sure if he... And also as well, he's at the position that we really need. I think we need to strengthen defensive options as well. Like I said, if Gabriel and Saliba are injured, we are in big, big trouble. Phil says, we've missed Timber. Well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? We've missed Timber because he's not been fit. But we don't know how good Timber would or wouldn't be. He played a few pre-season friendlies and 45 minutes in the first game of the season, and that's it. We don't really know how he would have fitted in, how it would have worked over the season. If you remember when he was playing, Thomas Partey was at right back. And I don't know if that was the plan. So maybe Timber being injured has meant he soon knocked that on there, didn't he? And okay, Partey's been injured himself. But yes, Timber would be a great option. Of course he would, as a defensive option. But we don't really know how good he would be because he didn't play much. He's hardly played for us. He's played 45 minutes of competitive football, really, if you look at it like, yeah, okay, the Community Shield, but is that really a competitive game? Nick Nack says, when's Timber due back? Not really sure. It seems like he's had a bit of a setback. Obviously, when you've had a big ACL injury, you're going to get setbacks, aren't you? Not sure. I don't know if he'll play this season, if I'm honest. I really don't. Marcy says, tonight we need an Anders Limpar on the bench. He'd make a big difference in the tight. I mean, exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Just players like you look at the bench and you think, right, that player can come on and do something. We've got players who can do it, and we don't have that, do we? Nick Nack says, Timber looked class from what I saw of him in that first game. Yeah, he did, yeah, but he played 45 minutes. So it's difficult to say, isn't it? How many players have we seen that have been brilliant on their first game and then they disappear and they never reach that level again, do they? I'm not saying that's going to be Timber. I'm sure he'd be a great player. But it's difficult to say. I don't look at it and say, oh, if Timber had a season with us and he was brilliant, then he got injured, you'd say, oh, yeah, okay, we've missed him. This season, we don't know because he didn't play. He played a few friendlies, that was it. So I wouldn't say yes, it would be nice to have had him. Of course it would. And I'm sure next season we start to see more of him. But yeah, I don't think you can say we've missed Timber because we've never really had him. You can't miss something you've never had, can you? Greg says, I think we lack the passion we had years ago. Yeah, obviously football's changed, doesn't it, now? You don't get that same, I don't know, that same kind of way about it. Is it the players are different now? And I don't know. But anyway, the teams are back out for the second half. We are just about to get back off and underway in this second half. We had this Champions League last 16 the first leg game. Arsenal did take kick-off. We are now attacking a goal to our left, which was the goal that somehow Porto didn't score in that first half. It's been a very tight game. It is 0-0, and that will be a decent result if it finished like that. But I feel as though if we can just get our act together in that final third, we can take a goal and maybe a victory back to the Emirates. But we've got a throw there in the attacking third at the start of the second half, which Jacob Kyrgios takes. He throws it to Martinelli, actually. Martinelli does well by that touchline, but the referee has given a free kick. Is it, or is it offside? It is going to be a free kick to Porto anyway at the start of this second half. And can Arsenal be a little bit more threatening in front of goal in the second half? That was the one thing that you felt we were lacking in that first half. We played well, but not one shot on target. The 68% possession, in fact, it was in the end. So yeah, not really. That's not really good enough, is it? We need to. Possession's all well and good, and it's great to have lots of possession in the game. Of course, it is, but it needs to lead somewhere, doesn't it? It needs to lead to opportunities at goal. We had a game recently, didn't we? The same thing, was it Nottingham Forest? I think in the first half away at Nottingham Forest, where we had, was it even more than 70% possession, I think. And we didn't have a shot on target in that game. Yes, we ended up winning it 2-1, but that's Nottingham Forest. This is Porto. It's a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it? And we've got to be more ruthless in that final third in these type of games. These are the games that you really need to do. You'll get away with it against Nottingham Forest. You'll get away with it against Burnley and West Ham. You're not going to get away with it against the top teams. You need to be more clinical. You need to be more ruthless. All the possession in the world doesn't win your games of football. Not on its own. You need to have an end product. You need to have goals at the end of it. And that's what I say in these type of games. This is where we really need to. That's the one area that we need to improve. Mark C says there, just to change things up, why doesn't Arteta simply have Martinelli and Saka swap sides? Well, yeah, we've said this loads of times actually throughout the last couple of seasons, really, because they're both playing on the inverted side, aren't they? You know, they're both. You know, obviously, Saka's left foot, he plays on the right. Martinelli's right foot, he plays on the left. They're always generally cutting. I mean, Saka's is dangerous on his right side as well. He got a great goal, didn't he? The other day with his right foot, didn't he? But yeah, maybe switch him over. And it's a different when you're defending and you're used to players cutting inside. I mean, Martinelli will always cut inside, won't he? You kind of get used to how you defend against them. But then you swap it over and suddenly you've got a player who's going to go around the outside. It's different, isn't it? It shakes things up. And maybe it only takes like one moment, doesn't it, of a defender just to be a little bit unsure. And suddenly, you know, the quality that we've got, we're in and we get a chance and we win the game. And yeah, I'm surprised that we don't do that more often because Saka can play on the left and Martinelli can play on the right. And there's no reason why they can't switch during the game. Anyway, Jacob Kyrgios is now in possession. He's had a decent, steady game again tonight, hasn't he? He's playing well to pole at the moment. And there's a foul there on Declan Rice, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. 48.5 minutes on the clock. Nick Nack says it means that when they cross it, they're crossing on their weaker foot most of the time. Yeah, I mean, sometimes with Saka, you don't notice it's his weaker foot sometimes. He puts in some great balls with his right foot, doesn't he? But it's not often Martinelli will use that left foot of his. And yeah, he's always looking to cut back onto his right, isn't he? And it becomes quite predictable sometimes. And I'll say, if you're an experienced defender, you're going to deal with it all day, aren't you? But swap them over for 10 minutes. And yeah, it's definitely got to be worth a go. Terry says, Arteta should stop starting games with 10 men. He should change it up by starting the game with 11 players. Well, yeah, maybe he would. But I don't think Kai Havertz has done too badly tonight. I don't think anybody's played too badly. I think it's been a decent enough overall performance. We're just lacking that little spark in the final third, aren't we? To get what would be to win this game would be a really, really good result, wouldn't it? To take forward to the Emirates. And obviously then we'd be massive favourites to finish the job, wouldn't we? But I say Mikel Arteta over 2 legs hasn't always had the best record, has he? As manager of Arsenal in these 2-legged European ties. He's struggled quite often. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether he's learnt too much from that, but we'll see. Let's face it, Porto are a team over 2 legs we should beat. I'm not saying it's easy. They're a good team. They are a good team. They've got some very good players. But over 2 legs, we should be beating Porto without, too many serious problems. It's going to get a lot harder should we get through, but certainly it would be a real big disappointment, wouldn't it, if we were to lose the Porto over 2 legs? It absolutely would be. So yeah, and if we're going to win this game over 2 legs, we're going to have to show a little bit more in that final third than we have done so far tonight. We are coming forward now, looking to change that, but that wasn't a great ball from Trossard, and Porto trying to play their way out of trouble. Mark C says, if we head back to the Emirates with a score at 0-0, it will be a very nervy night. It will, not quite as nervy as it would have been a couple of years ago when the away goals counted, because if you draw 0-0 away in the first leg, and of course, as soon as you can see the goal at home, you've then got to score 2. So that's different now, isn't it? With no away goal, if Porto were to come to the Emirates next week, if it's 0-0 here and then they score a goal, we just need one more and we're back level again, aren't we? So that makes a slight difference. I think a 0-0 draw would be a decent result, but yes, it would be a nervy night. If it's a draw, any draw tonight, if it's 1-1, 2-2, if it's a draw, it's nerve, isn't it? Because let's face it, anybody can win a game of football. This is Champions League knockout stage. These are good teams, aren't they? They're no mugs, none of them. That should be a book in there for a Porto player now. He just pulled back Martinelli. In fact, did you see the referee getting yellow cards out when he needs to? And he's not getting them out when he doesn't need to. So I've been impressed with this ref, I must be honest. It is Francisco there who's got that yellow card. Obviously, he pulled back Martinelli, who had got clear down his near side. That's an obvious yellow card. And the referee had no real option there, did he? And he's got his card out again. So there we go. Well done. Well done to him. So, yeah, good play for the referee again. It's a free kick to Arsenal as well on this near side. 51, nearly 52 minutes played. And I still think in Europe, a draw away, win at home is the way to go, isn't it? That's what you need to try and do. If you can win away, even better. But I certainly wouldn't be upset with a draw tonight at all, because I think we can beat these at home. We should all feel we can beat. We should be thinking we can beat these at home, shouldn't we? Anyway, Martin Odegaard with his free kick. Not a great ball, though, is it? Again, headed away by the first defender. And their set pieces haven't really been great tonight, have they? We've had quite a few corners and not really made anything of them, have we? That's been, we've been a lot more dangerous from set pieces, haven't we? Certainly since Dubai, but not tonight. It's been quite poor. There might be a little bit of space on this near side for the Brazilian. Should feel quite a homey. A lot of Brazilians in the Portuguese team. Nice play, a good cross, headed out though by Pepe, the Portuguese Pepe. That falls to Martin Odegaard. A volley blocked. And then Porto scrambled it away. They have defended well, Porto, when they've had to, but we still haven't really done enough to create some big chances here, have we, so far? But there is still time. It's quite early in this game. Saka now on that far side. We know he can produce some magic, and he's trying to do so now. Plays the ball out to this near side. Jacob Kiwior does well, plays it in to Kai Havertz. Now it's with Martinelli on this near side. This is good from Arsenal. If we can score a goal, it'll be a great goal. But Martinelli there trying to cross it with his left foot. What did we say before? He tried to cross with his left foot there, and it's gone straight out for a goal kick. And that is one of the problems that we were talking about before. Why not switch him sometimes? Let Martinelli, he can cross it on his normal foot on the other side. And who knows what might happen from that. But yeah, Arteta doesn't want to change anything much, does he? He likes the way he plays and he wants to keep it the same. Nick Nack says, oh dear, indeed, yeah, it wasn't a very good cross, was it? I mean, he was off balance as well, to be fair. And when you're on your weaker foot, if you're off balance, then it's going to be almost impossible to strike the ball cleanly, isn't it? It's hard enough to strike it cleanly on your weaker foot anyway, but you certainly got to get your body shape right. Anyway, Porto now have an opportunity maybe on this near side. Another little back heel into the box there. Maybe a more conventional pass might have been better there. But again, it was a dangerous counter-attack. As soon as they get in our half, they want to move that ball quickly. And that's the difference between the teams tonight, I think. Porto are much more direct. That was the other Pepe, the Brazilian Pepe, trying to be Brazilian there, a little back heel. It worked earlier on, didn't it, in the first half with a lovely little back heel pass that he made. But that one didn't come off, and in the end, Arsenal won a free kick. And Nick Nack says, Giggs playing on the left never did any harm. Yeah, and Beckham on the right. You had Giggs and Beckham on their normal side, whipping in great balls to a centre-forward, or two centre-forwards, quite often for Man United sometimes. So, yeah. But maybe that's, people will say, well, that's an old-fashioned way of playing. That's not the modern game. And maybe it isn't. Doesn't mean it can't work if you do it in short spells during games, confuse the opposition. Arsenal won another corner. That was Kai Havertz cross there on this near side, was played behind, deflected behind I think it was that I did that then. It was Otavio, I think it was. Anyway, it's another corner to Arsenal on this near side this time. It's going to be Declan Rice. He hasn't took a corner yet because all the other corners have been from the other side where Bukayo Saka's taken them. But Declan Rice, who've got a few assists, hasn't he, recently from set pieces. So let's see if he can produce another one here. And let's see if we can get the lead from this set piece. Declan Rice is going to take it. Jorginho just has a little word with him there. He was warming up on that side of the pitch. Again, there's lots of pushing and shoving. Declan ball towards the far post. It's a good ball. Oh, volley at the far post. That was Arsenal's clearest opportunity so far. It was Leandro Trossard, different corner. That was Declan Rice with it there on the volley. Maybe could have done a bit better. It's a difficult skill to pull off, isn't it? But he had a little bit of space there and time. Well, he should have done better, actually. Look at the replay of that. He's got time there. He should have done better there, Trossard. That's our best moment of the game from the attacking sense so far. He wasn't able to make the most of it, but we might have another chance now inside the box. Again, it's good defending. Is it the 41-year-old Pepe? Wow. And that's a great ball forward as well. Suddenly Porto on the counter-attack. They got some real pace here coming forward. And suddenly Arsenal look a little bit stretched. The game's actually opened up a little bit now in the second half, finally. It's been a bit of a slow burner. Surely that's a foul there by Jacob Kiwior. That should be a yellow card for the pole as well, and it is. And it's going to be another free kick. It was Francisco there causing the problems. Nathan says, when did managers start using inverted wingers? I remember the days when right footers would be on the right. I remember finding it weird when inverted wingers started to become a thing. Yeah, I don't know who the first manager was. I wouldn't be surprised if it was bloody Pep. Well, to be fair, I think Arsene Wenger probably played a little bit of that, didn't he, at times? Not all the time. I think he'd use it as a tactic, wouldn't he? Sometimes he'd switch his wide players quite a lot, wouldn't he, during games? But probably Pep played it originally because Pep started in the modern football I don't really like because it all comes from Pep, really. Mark says, if everyone expects you to go with the inverted roles, you should definitely mix them. Exactly, yeah. I don't see why we don't. Nick Neck says, I'm missing old-fashioned 4-4-2. Yeah, I think we all do. It's more direct, isn't it? Anyway, there's a free kick here to Porto on this near side, and it's a dangerous moment this for Arsenal. The ball is played in towards the far part. Oh, that's a terrible free kick. So our set pieces were bad. That was a waste, real waste there from Galano's. Missed that big chance in the first half and just wasted that free kick as well. And Nathan says 4-4-2. That's a throwback. It is, yeah. I mean, on Sunday football, teams still play 4-4-2. We play Vets football on a Saturday morning, and we still usually play 4-4-2. Although sometimes we've played 5 at the back, 3 at the back. We've mixed it up a bit, but yeah, probably 90% of our games we play 4-4-2. So yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? That's what happens really. But it's a shame that we don't see it very often. The odd team will play in the Premier League a 4-4-2, won't they? Maybe a Sean Dyche might throw one in. When Sam Allardyce was a manager, he used to do it, didn't he? So, the old style managers, really. And there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, here's a free kick to Porto. The game hasn't really got any more exciting, has it, in the second half? Still a very, very tactical game. And Arsenal still with the majority of the possession without creating much. That Trossard effort was our biggest chance of the game so far. And Porto continue to look quite lively on the break when they get the opportunity. But that's a poor ball forward. Runs all the way into the arms of David Raya, who's not really been troubled, has he, since that big chance that Porto missed in that first half. A shot came off the post and then the rebound was put wide by the Brazilian Galano. But now Arsenal are coming forward. Saka over on that far side. Bukayo Saka just inside the penalty area. Whips across with his right foot. No one in there to get on the end of it. In fact, it wasn't the best cross, if we're totally honest. Nathan says there, Burnley under Dyche, yeah, wooden bars. Exactly, yeah. And, I think other teams have other managers, I say the more the old school managers have done it. But even when you look lower down the leagues, in the Championship, League One, League Two, even down in some of the sort of the non-league levels of football, you still don't get too much 4-4-2 these days. Teams are still trying to play this modern system, which I don't know if that's better or not really. It's just the way modern football is, isn't it? So the way it is, the way it's gone, we just have to get on with it. It's not going to change, is it really? While all the top teams continue to do that, it's going to stay, isn't it? While Man City keep winning title after title, winning the Champions League, playing like that, Why would they change it? Why would anyone want to change it when it's successful? But it only works when you've got the players to make it work. Anyway, Kai Havertz had just been booked for whacking the Brazilian Pepe in the face there. I think that was a bit accidental, to be fair. He was looking at the ball, and he's about 4 inches taller than the little Brazilian. And as he went to shield the ball, he's caught him in the face, and he picked up a yellow card as well. So that's 3 yellow cards. And the referee is definitely been in control of this game, hasn't he? Nathan says, I miss those times. Yeah, I do as well. There was great times for football. Great time. Terry says, I miss the Chelsea 10 at the back and Drogba up front. Yeah. Well, they always used to beat us, though, didn't they? No matter what happened, they always used to beat us. Nathan says, Drogba, what a player he was. Indeed, he was a great player. I see Stephen Orient play 4-2-3. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I watched quite a lot of lower league football, non-league football and stuff like that. And, hoping that I'm going to see a bit more 4-4-2. I hardly ever do. You get that now, don't you? These new formations and stuff where I just think it overcomplicates it. Football is quite a simple game, isn't it, really, when you look at it? And if you play these complicated systems with inverted players and inverted fullbacks, inverted wingers, and God knows what else, I don't know, it overcomplicates things to me. Keep it simple. Play to your strengths. And I don't think Arteta has ever really done that. He's never really played to the players' strengths. He's always played to the system. And I think that's maybe the modern way, isn't it? Whereas what you have to do is work with the players that you've got. Kieran Tierney, for example, there's no point having Kieran Tierney as your left back and trying to play an inverted left back. You don't. When Kieran Tierney's playing, you play a system that's going to get the best out of him. You let him do what he's good at. Aubameyang, when he was playing, another yellow card for Nico there for Porto. It's like I say, when Aubameyang played, you've got to play. You've got to get the best out of Aubameyang. Play him where he's going to be most dangerous. Don't expect him to play covering for the left back, which is what he had to do a lot of the time. And then you wonder why he stopped scoring goals. You've got to play to your players' strengths that you've got, haven't you? And that's a lesson that I think all managers need to do, because you can't just keep going and buying players all the time, because the players that you've got can't play the system you want to play. You have to adapt. And that's the one thing Arteta hasn't really been very good at, I don't think, adapting to the players. He's always the system. And yeah, when it works, as we've seen in recent weeks, it's brilliant. But when it doesn't work, you need to have another option, don't you? And the players need to have another way of playing. And anyway, Porto coming forward again. It's number 10, Francisco. Is a very good little player, actually. I've been quite impressed with him. Anyway, Arsenal won the ball back. Arsenal got a counter-attack now. Declan Rice is leading the charge, finds Martinelli. Oh, he cuts inside. That's lovely from Martinelli. Oh, he couldn't quite get there. That's good defending. But that was a lovely little piece of skill from Arsenal's Brazilian there. Knocked the ball inside. Almost caught out the Porto defence there, but it was Varela there who came across and got the block in. And Nathan says even Pep himself overthinks and overdoes things at times. He's done it in the Champions League. No, absolutely, yeah. I think everyone seems to overthink things these days, and I can't quite understand why. Because I say it's a simple game, football, isn't it? You just pass the ball and stick it in the net, and there you go. Greg says it's become more possession-based rather than attacking football. Yeah, it has. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. Possession has become key, hasn't it? But I say you don't score a goal because you have possession of football. You score a goal because you have chances, you have shots, you get the ball in the box, you put the defence under pressure. You crosses and crosses, get the ball into the box, have shots. That's how you score goals. You can have as much possession as you like, and we've seen it, haven't we? How many times have we seen it? Brian Clough, and I grew up watching Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest, and he always said, didn't he, that it only takes a second to score a goal. The other team can have the ball. He was quite happy sometimes, wasn't he, to let the other team have the ball, and then he'd win the ball, bang, up the other end of the pitch, and they've scored. John Robertson down there when crosses it in, and Gary Birtles is there to score. And yes, teams don't play like that, and you could say that's not modern football, but I don't see why it can't be. It's timeless, really, isn't it? It's timeless. Getting the ball down the wing, across it, and a centre forward heads it in. That's timeless football, isn't it? Anyway, Nick Nack says he agrees with Greg. I was going to say that. Marcy says, remember Clough's words on football when he won the European Cup? So yeah, so I just said there, yeah, exactly. And I say I grew up watching Clough's Nottingham Forest. They were at the peak of their powers when I first really started getting into football in the late 1970s, and maybe that's just stuck with me. I love that team. I really love watching them play, that Nottingham Forest team. Of course, remember in them days, there wasn't much football on telly, but you saw the European Cup finals and stuff like that, and the finals, and Nottingham Forest were one of the best teams around at the time. And yeah, maybe that style of football is just stuck with me forever. Anyway, Arsenal coming forward now, trying to play the modern football, but Bukayo Saka's giving it away. And now Porto looking to play on the counter-attack over on this far side. Coming forward here, this is Galano, the Brazilian, inside the penalty area. And he's taken a bit wider than he wanted to be. That was really good defending, actually. Was that Saliba or was it Ben White? I wasn't quite sure it was there, but it was great defending, actually. Took him wider than he really wanted to go, Galano, and then in the end, the ball was cleared away by Arsenal. But it was a dangerous moment again, though, wasn't it? Porto coming forward, I say at pace. They'll certainly throw men forward, don't they? Nathan says, "You remember Stoke under Tony Pulis?" Well, of course, I remember them. We suffered there a lot, didn't we? From every time we played at Stoke for about 3 or 4 seasons in a row, they'd score a stupid goal from a long throw, wouldn't they? Anyway, Porto now looking a lot more dangerous. Cross comes in. Oh, it was a good ball as well, actually. Well defended at the near post by William Saliba. This is a good spell from Porto, actually. They're putting us under quite a lot of pressure here. And again, it's that Francisco. He's been a great player. I'm really enjoying watching him play. And the little number 10 on this near side anyway. Another attack here for Porto on this near side. This is a great run inside the box. Oh, another chance for Porto. That one's been deflected wide. It was Evan Ilson there. I think that was deflected. A brilliant play, actually, down this near side. It was by the Brazilian Pepe. He's been a good little player as well, actually. Skillful, quick, got past Kai Havertz there. And in the end, it was good defending again from Arsenal. But that was great play again from Porto. They're a really exciting team, aren't they, when they come forward? And that ball was played back there, and it was Declan Rice was in there to block that. And a corner from Porto is cleared away. Nick Nack says, their football will always be evolving. It's very data-driven now, especially at the top. It is, yeah. Even at lower league level, it's very data-driven. You know, you'd be surprised how much that's become a big thing at even non-league level. It really has. Mark says, I'd rather not. No, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to remember Tony Pulis, do we? Greg, so I remember back in the 60s and early 70s, West Ham were the most attractive team to watch, but couldn't win a game. But yeah, no, I mean, I was maybe a little bit too young to remember that particular West Ham team. But I know that's where they got their kind of name from, the academy and all that kind of stuff. Rajendra says, people are playing like Real Madrid, which are useless. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I do think it has been completely over complicated. You know, there's been some flares going off in the stadium. Either it's got foggy, one or the other. It's certainly looking, there's a mist over the pitch at the minute. And this has been Porto's best spell. We're midway through this second half. It is still 0-0. And it hasn't been a game of lots of chances, but what it has been is an interesting tactical battle. And Porto are just starting to get on top now. They had 1 or 2 little opportunities just before where they could have got a goal. And Arsenal having to defend a little bit more now, where maybe we hadn't been doing too much defending in this game. Anyway, I'm sure that is a flare. It looked very foggy in front of David Raya's goal over on our right-hand side. Anyway, Arsenal back in possession inside the centre circle. We've not really had too many opportunities in the second half at all, have we? We didn't have any in the first half. And just that one big chance from Trossard volleyed over from that corner. That was our moment maybe in this game. Anyway, Porto now trying to come forward again. This is their best spell of the game by quite some distance. And there's a foul there in midfield. In fact, the referee says, no, referee, let's play go on. It's a good tackle, actually, from Martinelli, says the referee. He's given fouls for them all night, and that one he didn't, which helped us, really, because it could have been a dangerous a moment there, actually, if the ref had given a free kick. Anyway, Gabriel now in possession for Arsenal, the Brazilian defender. Having another solid season, isn't it, at the back for Arsenal. That's a great ball up this near side. It's not quite a great ball, actually. It's run a little bit away there from Leandro Trossard. Puts his thumb up to applaud the idea, even if the execution wasn't quite there. We've got just over 20 minutes to play here in Portugal. It is still Porto 0, Arsenal 0. And Liverpool have beaten Luton 4-1. So Luton were 1-0 up at half-time. It's Van Dijk, Gakpo, Diaz and Harvey Elliott have got the goals there. Liverpool scored 4 again. They're looking pretty menacing, aren't they? Liverpool back on the top of the table. They are tonight. They are 4 points clear. Man City do have a game in hand. They're 5 points clear of us. And again, we have a game in hand as well, but they're starting to look good, aren't they, Liverpool now? But anyway, Nick Neck says 29 shots from Liverpool. There you go. You see 29 shots and they scored 4 goals. That's how you do it, isn't it? At 61%. So they only had 61% possession, Liverpool, which, you know, Mikel Arteta would be disappointed with 61% possession, wouldn't he? But yeah, 29 shots, 13 on target, and 13 corners, Liverpool. And Luton had 12 shots, actually, 3 on target, and only 4 corners, 39% possession. For Luton, I mean, Luton have surprised a few people, haven't they, this season? And they did well tonight. Nick Neck says, yeah, who needs Salah, Nunez, and Jota? Well, clearly they don't, do they? You know, we're talking about squad, aren't we, before? And that's the difference, isn't it? Liverpool have got that squad that, you know, they can be without 2 or 3 big players, still win games. Last season, we were without 1 or 2 big players and we couldn't win a game. And that's the difference, isn't it? And I think that's where we're lacking slightly at the minute, I feel. But anyway, maybe we won't need to if everyone stays fit. Let's hope so. Anyway, Trossard now on his near side. Can Arsenal nick a goal in these last 20 minutes? Still no changes from either side, actually. No substitutions at all as yet. And we've played 71 minutes. So neither manager has decided to show their hand yet, have they? Terry says, shame about 29 don't have a shot. Oh, and Arsenal, just to be saying that, Arsenal are making a change. It's going to be Jorginho, who seems to have grown his beard and his hair over the last few weeks, and he's looking a little bit more Italian now, isn't he? Anyway, here's a corner to Arsenal again on this near side. Again, Declan Rice is going to take it from the last corner, of course. Trossard had that big chance, didn't he, for Arsenal? But Jorginho is going to be coming on short. I wonder who's going to be going off. Will it be Declan Rice to save him from that second yellow card, which would keep him out of the second leg? Anyway, Rice's corner again to the near far post. Goalkeeper does well again under a bit of pressure, punches it clear. He hasn't been put under a lot of pressure, the goalkeeper. He hasn't had a lot to do, has he, in terms of shot stopping, but he's done well. He looks a decent keeper, doesn't he? Mark C says, the year Leicester won the title, their possession stats weren't all that. They were very just effective on the attack and made the most of their scoring chance. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, they played to their strength, didn't they? They had Jamie Vardy up front, and they were spreading the ball through to him constantly, letting him run onto the ball. You know, they were very physical. They were direct, and yeah, you have to play to your strengths. And sometimes you've got to be able to play a different way. We beat Leicester twice that season. Do you remember the game at Filbert Street, 1-5-2, and Sanchez got that hat trick? That was a brilliant performance that from Arsenal. Anyway, this is good from Arsenal. Ben White's cross again. It's deflected behind. It's going to be another corner to Arsenal. And again, defensively, Porto have been good. They've worked hard. They've been solid. And if they defend like this next week, or not next week, sorry, the second leg, it's not going to be easy, is it? Anyway, Jorginho now is about to come on for Arsenal. Let's see who's going off. My guess would be Declan Rice, just to save him from... Oh, it's actually Trossard. Trossard's going off. He's played all right, Trossard, tonight. He had that big chance. Not maybe had many forward opportunities, but he's worked hard for the team. And Jorginho's coming on just to add a little bit more, maybe defensive structure in these final, 17 minutes. Maybe that's a response to Porto. Just starting to have a few opportunities just in the last 5 minutes or so, didn't they? And maybe that's Mikel Arteta's response to that, to bring Jorginho on just to try and... So it gives him a bit more stability there in midfield. Anyway, it's a corner which Saka's going to take from that far side. Arsenal's right. He's going to swing it in with that left foot, of course. Is it going to go to the far post again, as all the others have that he had in that first half? Let's see. Goes to the... In fact, the referee has given a free kick for a foul on a goalkeeper who's holding his ankle as though he's been stamped on, which he may well have been. Didn't really see it, but the referee certainly did. He's not missed much, has he, this referee? He's like that. Do you remember that action man, eagle-eyed action man? In fact, it might have been his own player that stood on his foot, actually. Anyway. It was his own player. It was his own player that stood on his foot. The referee's given a free kick to Porto. If ever there was an example of a goal kick, in fact, has he given a free kick? He might have just let Arsenal take the corner again. In fact, he has. He's let Arsenal take the corner again. That's fair enough then. See, he doesn't miss anything, this ref, does he? He's proper on the ball. You've got to give him credit. Anyway, the corner's about to come in this time. There's still a lot of pushing and shoving going on inside that 6-yard box. The corner comes in against the edge of the 6-yard box. The goalie's there. The goalie's there. Just claims it. He looks solid, doesn't he, that goalkeeper? Anyway, there's going to be a throw over on that far side to Arsenal. Leicester. I was just reading that comment Mark put about Leicester. Porto in blue and white, aren't they? Maybe that's why. Not really, don't really look like Leicester's kit, does it at all? But anyway, the same colour blue and white, maybe, but different combination. Arsenal are coming forward now. It's actually Napoli 1, Barcelona 1. Oshiman's just scored for Napoli. They were losing 1-0 to Barcelona in that game in one of the other quarterfinals, of course. Nathan says he's a good keeper. Costa, no, he's done well. He looks strong, solid. He's a decent keeper, yeah. Nick Nack says when Chelsea played Man City, they reminded me of Leicester's Championship winning side a bit. Yeah, they did. Yeah, did they not have a couple of their players as well, didn't they? Obviously Kante and sure, there's another one as well, didn't they, from Leicester that they bought Chelsea anyway. Arsenal now having a better spell. Jorginho actually given the ball away, and now Porto can launch one of these dangerous and exciting counter-attacks that they're so good at. They've got the ball in midfield. It's great skill. They've got some really skillful little players, Porto, actually. You have to say, this little guy on this near side, Francisco, has been really, really impressive. I've enjoyed watching him play. Really good player, skillful, fast, direct, sort of player Arsenal could do with, actually. He reminds me a little bit of, we've been talking about Pedro Neto, haven't we, earlier on? And he looks a bit similar to him, doesn't he? I quite like him, this Francesco. He looks decent. Francisco, sorry. Mark C says they'd like to see some short corners now. We're just saying a bit different. I mean, the one that Declan Rice took to the far post, that was different, wasn't it? Nearly brought a goal. Greg says there, it seems like we get a player who shoots from outside the box, is taken out of them and encouraged to walk the ball. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Trossard's one of the players, isn't he? He'll try a shot from outside the box. Nathan says Chelsea also. Danny Drinkwater, he didn't really play that much, though, did he, for Chelsea? Nick Nack says, yeah, another modern tactic. Don't take long shots. Yeah, exactly. It seems to be, doesn't it? Don't take long shots. No, anyway, my stream is just froze for some unknown reason. So let's try another one. See if we can get the action back for you these last 15 minutes or so. Which will there be a goal? Will there be a goal in the Champions League? Will Arsenal score our first knockout Champions League goal for the first time since 2017? I don't know if my internet's just gone crazy, actually. Let me just have a little check for 2 seconds. Let's have a look and see. I think my internet just went off. My internet connection. Let's see if we can get back to what we were doing before. Now you see it's not working on that one. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's try a different one. See if I can get it back. I'm sure I will. Just there's a few internet issues there, which happens occasionally, unfortunately. What can you do? Anyway, let's hope we haven't missed a goal, because there's been so few opportunities. It's be gutted if we actually miss the only goal that there happens to be. Let's have a look. Have we got working signal again? We shall find out very shortly. Oh, we have, and it is still 0-0. So we haven't missed anything. Bukayo Saka now over on that far side. Now it's with Martin Odegaard in a tight space. Wins another corner for Arsenal. I don't know how many corners we've had. We've had millions, haven't we? Greg says, have you paid your bill? Of course I've paid my bill. Absolutely, I've paid my bill. Always. Nick Nack says, the reason Leicester's counter-attacking style worked is partly because it took most of the season before teams started taking him seriously. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I think once they were winning a few games, I think people started to set up. I don't think anyone expected them to last throughout the season. But I don't think they caught anyone by surprise. It was just difficult to deal with. When it works, doesn't it? Nothing you can do. Anyway, I've got another corner, so that leads to more pushing and shoving. Is it going to be the same sort of corner again from Bukayo Saka as we've seen all night? Indeed it is. And again, the goalkeeper comes for that. I don't know if he got a touch on it or not. But in any case, it's going to be a free kick to Porto anyway. Another one of their players has gone down injured. He probably isn't really injured. He's pretending he's injured. Nathan says Mahrez was one hell of a player too. Yeah, him and Vardy had just unbelievable seasons, and Kante, those three that season. Of course, at the back as well, they had who was that guy that played at the back from the big guy, big defender. He was brilliant that season as well, wasn't he? And obviously the goalkeeper Schmeichel. Anyway, they're bringing on Ivan Jamie now, at Porto, and he is a Spanish midfield player. So I don't know if he's an attacking midfield player potentially. He looks like he's an attacking midfield player, doesn't he? Nathan says Robert Hoof. No, the other one who played alongside him, he was their captain, wasn't he? He was their captain. He was decent. Anyway, Nico Gonzalez or Gonzalez has gone off, and Ivan Jamie's coming on. That is the Porto change in the last 10 minutes here. Was it Wes? I think it might have been, yeah. Not Wes Brown. It might have been Wes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Wes Morgan, that's it. Wes Morgan, Nathan's got it. You got it between yours. Wes Morgan, yeah. He just had one of them seasons, didn't he? I never really rated him that much, but that season he just won everything, didn't he? Just no one could get past him. Nick Nat said, yeah, Wes Morgan was a beast at the back. He was, yeah, that season, that was it though, wasn't it? He was rubbish before, he was rubbish after. It was just that was that season for Leicester, wasn't it? Everything went their way, didn't it? Everything went their way, and in the end, they won the league, and just goes to show, doesn't it? Greg says we lack creativity. We do, but you can't really say that, Greg, can you? Because we've just got 11 goals in the last 2 games. That's what people will say. I agree with you, but people will say, "Well, we scored 11 goals." Yeah, we scored 11 goals against 2 very, very weak, poor teams that played terribly and left themselves wide open. I wouldn't say it's just because we were creative. Yes, we scored a lot of goals. A lot of those goals was really, really poor defending, wasn't it? You have to say as well. But no, I agree. We do lack creativity, 100%. Nick Nack said there, plus Schmeichel played his part. No, actually, he did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they were solid at the back, Leicester, weren't they, that season? They were dangerous on the counter-attack, and it was a dangerous combination. It worked. And they only lost 3 games, and 2 of them went to us. And we still couldn't catch them. Mark C says, this is a different level of football. Oh, absolutely. Of course it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's a different level of football. But it's what I said, you see, when we come up against the better teams, that's where, you don't learn anything about your team when you go away to Burnley and win 5-0. When you go away to West Ham, who just were awful that game, and when you win 6-0, you don't learn anything about your team. They're nice. You enjoy them. Of course you do. Brilliant. Let's have a few more games like that. I'm sure we will. But it's when you play the good teams and you play the better teams in games like this, the big games. This is when you learn about your team. You learn how good you are. This is when you learn how good you are. And you have to say Porto are a decent team. They are. I like the way they play. They've got a great system. It's exciting at times when they can counter-attack. And they've got some really, really skillful players. And it's not going to be easy next week, is it? If this game does finish 0-0, which we'll take, it's not the most exciting 90 minutes. 1 shot on target all night so far in 82.5 minutes. But they're not going to be easy to beat next week. They aren't. Let's not get carried away and not think, oh yeah, this is done. Anyway, coming forward again, some nice play again from Porto coming forward here. Maybe he held onto the ball a bit too long there, but they're still coming forward. They've got a player over here on this near side. Is this going to be the moment that Porto get the goal? The cross comes in, it's deflected. Oh, David Reyes there. Great hands again from the Arsenal goalkeeper. You've got to say he's playing really, really well now, hasn't he, in the Arsenal goal. And now Arsenal trying to come forward actually on the counter-attack. Jorginho. Again, you see Porto there moving the ball quickly, getting it into the box, and the cross there was deflected. It was Francisco again who played a part in that. Or Martin Odegaard's just lost the ball there. Poor touch from him, unusually. And Porto again picked up possession. Is anyone going to find a winning goal in these last, 6.5 minutes that remain? It's been a very even game, you have to say. Not much in it at all. A draw is probably the right result. But Arsenal might try and win it now. Martinelli, the ball's deflected, comes back towards Kai Havertz. He's not going to get there. And Porto will get this away, will they? Well, can you see they're playing some decent football? Don't need to lump it up the pitch. Well, they do lump it up the pitch now. But Ben White's underneath that one, heads it forward. The second header was won by Porto. And another one won by Porto as well. And they're coming forward up with this. Another little flick back heel there. They love a bit of back heel, don't they? But that's what I said. That's what I said before the game. You know, they're all Portuguese and Brazilian, and a couple of Spaniards thrown in. It's going to be fancy flicks and tricks, and you know, some nice skills coming out. And that's what's happened in this game. Porto have played well, and I say it's going to be an interesting game next week if it stays like this, isn't it? It will be nervy, as Mark said earlier. Greg said they should take a lesson from the women's team. They play better against the stronger teams. Well, yeah. As another thing as well, I think women's football is a lot less complicated, isn't it? At the moment, I think it'll become maybe the same as time goes on. But at the moment, it's a lot less complicated, isn't it? Anyway, Ivan Ilson's gone off, and it's Tony Martinez coming on, and he is coming on. Spanish Tony doesn't look very Spanish, does he actually? But anyway, he is Tony Martinez. He's coming on, and Ivan Ilson's gone off, and my little friend Francisco's gone off, and it's going to be Gonçalo Borges is coming on for Porto. So we're not going to see any more of Francisco, but he's done enough in this game tonight to, you know, he's a name to watch for, isn't he? Mark C says, have we only made one change? Yes, we have indeed. See, we said this before, didn't we? Have we got players off the bench who can win you a game? No, because if we did, we would have brought them on, wouldn't we, surely, to try to win this game? Because it's there to be won, ultimately. Yes, Porto are a decent team, but this game's there to be won, isn't it? And we've made one substitution, which was Jorginho for Trossard, which is a defensive change, isn't it? Yes, and you have to be careful. A draw here isn't a bad result, as we said. It's a decent result to take next week, and you know, obviously, it's better than losing 1-0 by taking too many risks. And you can understand that tactically, you have to get it right in Europe. We've won another corner though here in the last 4 minutes. Kai Havertz did well there actually. But no, we've only made that one change, and that is again, that's the concern, isn't it, for me? That, you know, do we have the players off the bench to make that difference? Clearly, we don't. You know, Man City would have come away here tonight, and yes, people say, well, you can't compare Arsenal to Man City. Well, why not? Are we not challenging Man City? Are we not trying to challenge Man City for league titles, and we're in the Champions League against they're the holders? You know what I mean? If we can't compare ourselves to Man City, or if you don't want us to compare us to Man City, that's because we're not good enough, are we? We're not at that level. But Man City wouldn't come to this game and be happy with a 0-0 draw. They'd be trying to win it now, wouldn't they? They'll be bringing on players to try and win the game. We don't have those players, and that's the difference, isn't it? That's why Man City win all that they win, and we haven't won anything yet. Greg says, bring on Steiner. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Bring on Steiner. He should win it for us. That corner, it's the near post this time, flicked on by a Porto defender. Here we are, couldn't get there, actually, and Porto can bring the ball away. And so they've got a counter-attack. I say they do move quickly, don't they? Going forward, Porto. And here we are there. Couldn't quite get on the end of that. The corner was flicked on at the near post. But now we could do with someone like Steiner, couldn't we? You know, the women's team have certainly got that from the bench, haven't they? You look at the women's team every week and you think there's players on that bench that can come on and win the game. And it's happened quite a few times. But anyway, Arsenal don't really have that, do we? You have to say Pepe is going to play a full 90 minutes here. He probably plays a full 90 minutes every week. He's 41 years old. You've got to say, you've got to give credit to the guy. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Brilliant. I mean, you know, I know we've had a few battles, haven't we, with England against Portugal as well. But what an incredible professional he is. What an incredible athlete he is. 90 minutes in the Champions League at 41 years old. Brilliant. What an inspiration. That's the thing to me, you know. I think a lot of young players there, and maybe because they're young, I don't know, but they look at players who can do nice little skills and tricks and all this kind of stuff, and they look up to them players. But for me, the real inspirations are the players like Pepe, you know, that look after themselves and can still do it at 41 years old. That is incredible. That, and if young players now look up to that and think, right, I want to still be playing in the Champions League when I'm 41, follow that example. And you might be able to do it. Anyway, Porto coming forward again in these last couple of minutes here, and they've just won a free kick. Ben White, it was, give it away. This referee hasn't really liked too much physical contact, has he? He's given a lot of free kicks for like 50, almost like 50-50 battling away for the ball. He's made a decision and gone with it. And he's just gone with one here for a free kick to Porto in the last minute of the 90. I mean, it probably was a foul. Ben White's got hold of it. See, again, the referee's seen it. He's got hold of his arm and pulled him over. At the time, you think, oh, that's just maybe two players battling for the ball. But actually, he's grabbed his arm. This referee, for me, has been good. I've really, really been impressed with him. He's refereed this game. And is that because we're so used to absolute crap that we see week in, week out in the Premier League? And suddenly we're seeing a referee who knows what he's doing. So it looks a lot better than what it is. I don't know. It seems that could well be the case. Anyway, another substitution for Porto. Stephen Esquito's gone off. Wendell's gone off, and Stephen Esquito is coming on. That is just a defensive change there. He's a Canadian, actually, the guy that's just come on. And it's Wendell, the Brazilian, that's injured and doesn't look very happy, but he's played virtually 90 minutes, so he shouldn't be too disappointed, should he? Anyway, this free kick from Porto. Again, it's a poor free kick. Ben White could have let that go. In fact, he missed it, and the ball stayed in over on that far side, drilled in towards that near post, but easy save for Ray. It's going to be 4 minutes of stoppage time. 4 minutes. We are just into that now. Is there going to be some late drama here in Portugal in this first leg? Is either team going to snatch a goal? I think a draw is probably the right result, a fair result. I think it's been an even game. Slight contrast of styles, maybe. Arsenal trying to keep the possession more. Porto happy to let Arsenal have the ball and then spring counter-attacks. And it's been an interesting game without being too excited, let's be honest. And Saka just won a free kick over on that far side. Maybe Arsenal can win it. Marseille. So I saw Peter Shilton in goal for Orient when he was 46. Yeah, but that's playing in goal, isn't it? I mean, yeah, fair play to him. He did play well into his later years, didn't he? But to play out on pitch is slightly different, isn't it? But no, Peter Shilton, yeah, he did. He maybe played a little bit too long, didn't he? He went to Plymouth, didn't he, at the end or somewhere? Got over 1,000 league appearances, didn't he, Peter Shilton? Incredible career he had. You know, one of them not in the Forest players again, isn't it? Around the Clough as well, of course. But yeah, I mean, some goalkeeper, John Burridge, didn't he play well into his 40s as well, didn't he? You don't get too many outfield players, though, do you? Playing in their 40s. Can't think of too many in the Premier League. There probably is one or two. I can't think of it on the top of my head, actually, that played outfield players that played into their 40s in the Premier League. There must be one. Anyway, Pepe, respect to you, mate. Absolutely respect to you. You had a decent game as well. Very, very good performance. A free kick from Arsenal. It's going to be the moment. Header. Oh, header. Gabriel was in there at the end of that free kick there, and he couldn't keep his header down. And there's been so few chances for Arsenal that you just feel as though that was probably going to be the one. If we were going to win this game, that was going to be it there. Mark C says, oh, that was the chance. Yeah, that was the chance. I do think it was. If we were going to win this game tonight, that was it right there. I don't think we'll get another chance like that in these last couple of minutes of stoppage time. It was a decent free kick from Dec, and Gabriel got there. Free header almost. I'm not saying it was an easy header, but it was a free header. Maybe we should have hit the target at least. Instead, it's gone over the bar. And the few chances that we've had tonight, we haven't made the most of. We haven't had an effort on target all game. Anyway, Porto now coming forward. Maybe one last chance to try and win it over on that far side. What a big goal it would be if either team can score, but that's a poor cross. Again, not with anyone in the box for Porto, and David Raya was able to grab that ball fairly comfortably. And I think both teams have lacked a little bit of sharpness and, sort of quality in that final third, haven't they? Porto have played a lot better in the attacking third, looked a lot more dangerous. But, yeah, it's been one of them sort of games, hasn't it? But it's certainly all to play for at the Emirates, isn't it? Oh, a loose touch there from Gabriel. And he's going to struggle now, but he's managed to get the ball back there. And David Raya's kick there wasn't great, was it? It's gone straight to Porto. Plays out of his goal, David Raya. And are Porto going to snatch it at the death here? No, they're not, because Arsenal have won it back. And Declan Rice actually has given it away. And suddenly now Porto coming forward again in the last few minutes here. But that's not a great ball. And Arsenal do launch it forward, but not very well. And again, it's come back again. And Porto look more likely to win this in the last few seconds here. They're coming forward again. A shot from the edge of the box. Oh, and they've scored. Porto have won it at the death. And it is Galano missed that big chance in the first half. He's won it in stoppage time for Porto. And Arsenal are going to have to come from behind at the Emirates in a couple of weeks' time. Is that going to be the goal that sends Porto through? It's certainly going to give them a lead to take to London. Wow, Terry says no. I'll tear out. I mean, it's a bit of a disaster finish. You have to say that's been coming in the last couple of minutes there. Arsenal got a little bit sloppy, couldn't get the ball away. It's a good finish from the edge of the box, actually. It is a good finish from the Brazilian, who should have scored in the first half. He has scored right at the death. And Porto have won this game 1-0. We haven't quite had full time yet. We've played the 4 minutes of stoppage time. That was pretty much the last kick of the game. Nick Next says, disappointing. Mark C says, the one place where I can't reach. Exactly, yeah, it's a good finish. It's a good finish. And, yeah, didn't think we were going to get a goal tonight. We have. It's not the goal that we wanted. It was a poor clearance, actually, from, I think it was Declan Jorginho. It was, actually. The ball came back to Galeno over on that far side. That's a good finish. That's a really good finish in the bottom corner from, 25 yards. Curled it in with his right foot. That is absolute quality. That's what you get in the Champions League, isn't it? Nathan says, awful into the game. Nick Nack says, we'll make for an exciting second leg. No, well, it will do. Make a very difficult second leg, because our solid Porto have looked. We're now going to have to score at least 2 goals. You know, a 0-0 draw would have been all right, actually. Look at that. The curl on that. That's a great goal, actually. Wow. That is probably going to be one of the goals of the round. And it's an important one as well in the final few seconds here. But Arsenal going to get an equaliser. Martin Odegaard's shot from the edge of the box has gone wide. Arsenal looking for an instant response. Almost got it. They say you're vulnerable when you've just scored. And we almost got the equaliser there. Terry says, hooray, we've had a shot. We've had 1 or 2. So haven't had 1 on target yet. But we had a shot at least. And but we are heading for a defeat here in Portugal tonight. It is Galeno's 5th goal in the Champions League. And he'll be relieved about that, won't he, after missing that big chance. In fact, there goes a full-time whistle. That was a very, very late goal, wasn't it? So late, I didn't even put it on the screen. Just in case anyone's watching and thinks it was 0-0. It has finished 1-0 to Porto. They just scored right at the very end with Galeno there, the Brazilian. And, I mean, I think Arsenal were a bit unfortunate to lose that game, if I'm honest. I really do, because it looked a very even game, didn't it? Most of that game. We had more possession, not many chances. Porto had the better chances, no doubt. They could have scored 3 or 4 goals with the opportunities that they had. Missed a big chance in that first half, got the goal at the end. And, yeah, you could maybe say that perhaps they maybe did just shade that maybe overall. Not much in it, though, was there, really? Mark C says, oh, well, they'll park the bus at the Emirates. Yeah, they will. Absolutely, they will. And they look very solid at the back, don't they? Let's make no mistake about it. It's not going to be easy to get through in that second leg in a couple of weeks' time. It's not going to be easy at all, because they do look very, very organised and solid. And look how dangerous they are on the counter-attack. You know, we need to score a couple of goals at the Emirates. We're going to have to take a few risks at some stage in the game. And they're capable of picking us off on the counter, aren't they? They really are. So it's not going to be easy at all. It's going to be very, very difficult. We are going to have to really work hard to get that through. Terry says the best thing about that game was seeing a decent ref. No, I agree. Our ref was excellent, actually. He was excellent, the ref. Regenda says Martinelli needs to be shown how to shoot like that. Well, yeah, we all need to be known how to shoot like that. We don't score too many goals like that, do we? Trossard's about the only one. And Mark C says only a curler in the top corner could beat Raya. It was a great goal, yeah. Nick Next says they'll use the same tactic. Of course they will, yeah, because they almost played like the away team tonight, didn't they, in a way? But yeah, of course they will. Greg says at least there's a glimmer of hope. Well, yeah, a little bit less of a glimmer of hope than there was at 0-0. I kind of felt 0-0. I'd have took a 0-0 all day long, move on and get through at home. But now we're going to have to, you know, looking at the way they played tonight, they can easily get a draw at the Emirates. Porto, they can easily get a draw. But we need to win now, don't we? We've got to win that game. We've got to win it by a couple of goals. Nathan says, should not have been coughing up cheap possession in midfield like that. Credit where it's due, a good finish. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's sloppy from Arsenal. Not just before the goal, but in a couple of minutes before as well, wasn't it? We were looking maybe tired. Maybe that means, you know, maybe not enough substitutions, Mikel. Maybe that might have been the answer. But yeah, it's going to be really, really tough, actually. I was impressed with Porto tonight. They were a much better team than I was anticipating they would be. I mean, I did say before, I thought it would be tough. I thought we'd probably get a draw, but they actually impressed me the way they played. I thought they look a good side, Porto. And I say, Pepe, I'm absolutely in awe of the guy. I've got to be honest. Absolutely. 41 years old, and he's performed like that. Kept a clean sheet in the Champions League knockout stage. Incredible. What a guy. But yeah, we played okay. We played quite well, actually, you could say, but we just lacked any sort of penetration, any sort of cutting edge in that game. and that's why we've come away with a defeat. You know, we almost came for the draw maybe in some ways, and it's come back to haunt us, hasn't it? So, yeah, this a disappointing finish, but yeah, credit to Porto. I enjoyed the way they played. They probably did just shade. If I'm honest, they probably did just shade it over the 90 minutes. Actually, Mark said in a game like that, having a big striker who can hold the ball up is a necessary thing. Shame we don't have one. Yeah, it keeps that possession, doesn't it? It's a target to hit, isn't it? But that's not how Arteta wants to play. And I don't think he'll ever buy that sort of striker because he doesn't want to play that style of football. And this is where, you know, you can see, we can all see the flaws in it when it doesn't work. But Mikel's going to keep at it, isn't he? He's going to keep doing it and keep doing it. He's brought one forward, one striker, if you like, in 4 years he's been at the club, over 4 years. And he's not even a proper striker, is he? Jesus. He's more of a false nine, like Trossard. He's a false nine, isn't he? He's not even really a false nine, Trossard, really, for me. But anyway, Terry says, come on, Mark, we have 29. We do have 29. He didn't really hold the ball that much, did he, tonight? But yeah, it is going to be a really, really tough game at the Emirates now, isn't it? If we're going to turn this around. Yes, at home, I still feel we've got enough about us with the crowd and everything else. But that Porto team are very, very strong defensively. The goalkeeper's decent. Their defence is decent. They know how to defend. So yeah, you have to say it is going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Rajendra says you were happy coming back 1-0. Yeah, I wouldn't say. I don't think it. Before the game, I didn't know too much about Porto. I didn't know what they were really like. I thought they'd have some exciting players. And I thought, yeah, maybe a 1-goal defeat wouldn't be a disaster. But looking how solid they were, they're going to be a tough nut to crack. And we were so close to that 0-0, weren't we? We were so close to that 0-0. That would have been a very, very good result in the circumstances. Anyway, we've got. Actually, that's not. That's the Europa League for tomorrow. Though, that's just showing there. Who cares about the Europa League? That's just a terrible, terrible competition, isn't it? So let's have a look at the other scores in the Champions League. Then Napoli won, Barcelona won. It finished actually. Osimhen scored. Lewandowski scored for Barcelona. There's a few Conference League games. Of course, they spread the Champions League out there, don't they, over bloody 3 weeks? Ridiculous. Anyway, Arsenal lost in Portugal in the first leg of the last 16. So our first knockout game in the Champions League for 7-8 years has ended in defeat, without a goal, without a shot on target, actually. That's the most disappointing aspect for all the possession that we had. And I say we've got it all to do next week. It is going to be tough. I still think we can do it. I still think we'll go through, but it's certainly going to be a nervy, tense game, isn't it, in a couple of weeks' time. And talking of tense, nervy games, we've got another tense, nervy game, haven't we, on Saturday, when Newcastle come to the Emirates. Of course, we all remember that game away at Newcastle, the controversial goal, the 0-0 draw they got last season, wasting time and all kinds of stuff. There's a little bit of needle between Arsenal and Newcastle, you feel, these days. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? 8 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Wow. Strange kickoff time, isn't it? There you go. Mark C says, all to do now. Indeed, it is, my friend. It is all to do. Terry says, bring on Newcastle. Indeed, yeah, bring them on. We'll have to play better than tonight. I'm sure we will. We're at home. So, yes, disappointing result in the end and disappointing performance in attack, really. Mark C says, will Jesus and his ESR be back already for the second leg? Well, ESR was on the bench tonight. Didn't even come on. So your guess is as good as mine. I don't know about Jesus. Will he be fit? Maybe fit for the big. I think it's 3 weeks the game anyway, so it's given us a bit more time. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't know the answers to these questions. We need something a bit different, don't we? Without a doubt, than tonight, certainly in the attack, because it was a little bit too easy for Porto, wasn't it, defensively tonight? And yeah, it's a big game at the Emirates to come, isn't there? And there's a few big games to come in the next few weeks as well. We say starting on Saturday. Now I'll be back, of course, on Friday. We are doing the Arsenal Women's Show. Although it's international break, we want to look back on that Manchester United game Lots of talking points, of course. So we'll be here Friday for that one. We'll also be keeping an eye out on the Lionesses friendly against Austria, which is going on at the same time. So we'll bring you updates from that as well. And the usual show with Andreas and Amos. That's going to be good on Friday. So join us for that. Of course, Saturday night, I'll be here. In fact, we might have to watch along with Paul, who, of course, as we know, supports Newcastle. So that could be a nice friendly evening that we'll have. So we'll be covering that game anyway on Saturday evening, 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll be at 7:45 for that. That is going to be fun, isn't it? And on Sunday, I may well be going to watch the Newcastle women, actually. They're playing at St James's Park in the Cup. So we'll bring you a video of that as well, no doubt, as well. So there you go. Terry says, didn't really expect anything different with Arteta in charge. Well, I don't know. I kind of expected we'd get a decent result tonight, a positive result. A draw I would have been happy with, but we were close, but not quite close enough. But we need to go closer in the second leg, don't we? Because we've got to win that game to go through. And I think we will. But let's see. So I did finish tonight then in the knockout stage, the last 16 of the Champions League. Porto 1, Arsenal 0. Very, very late goal from Galano there has won it for Porto. And yeah, a lot of work to do in a couple of weeks' time for Arsenal. A lot of work to do. But we're still in there. It's certainly not over, is it? We've made it difficult for ourselves. But who likes things that are easy? If things are easy, there's no fun, are they? Who wants to go away to Burnley and win 5-0? It's boring. Do you know what I mean? It's boring. These like tough games where you got to come from behind, that's where the fun is, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's where the fun is. Mark C says, later, chat to yourself, my friend. We will see you very soon, I'm sure. Probably Saturday, no doubt, for the Newcastle game. Or if you're around on Friday for the women's show, join us for that, because it's always a good laugh. And we talk about the great stuff that's happening with the Arsenal women, a record crowd for the WSL, of course, the win against Manchester United. So we're going to look back on that, plus one or two other things as well. Greg says, tomorrow the wombs will start. So when the second leg they will, for certain. Terry says, our fans need to wise up and realise Arteta and 29 aren't the answer. Well, yeah, I definitely agree with you about Arteta. I think maybe Havertz might come good. I'm not sure. And Terry there says night to Mark. Yeah. So there you go then. It's finished at in Portugal tonight. It has finished. Porto 1, Arsenal 0. Difficult game, a difficult tie, a difficult second leg to come. But we're still in there. We've still got a big chance to go through. We're still slight favourites. Do you think? Yeah, I think we probably are just about slight favourites with the home leg still to come. We were seconds away from getting a very, very decent 0-0 draw, wasn't we? Wasn't quite meant to be. Terry says, make sure you hit that like button before you go. Yes, please, guys, give us a like before you go. If you've enjoyed being with us, don't forget to subscribe as well. Why not? Because we cover the games, the men's games and the women's games for you, and bring you one or two other good shows as well in between it all. So yeah. Disappointing tonight, wasn't it? But it's good to be in the Champions League. It's good that we're covering these games. It's good that we are in the knockout stage. Just so we can go a little bit further. But we're going to need at least 2 goals, aren't we, at the Emirates in 3 weeks' time? Can we do it? Yes, I think we can. But it's going to be really difficult. Well played to Porto tonight. They played well. Good tactical performance from them, I thought. And yeah, they've got a lead to take to London. And we're going to have to try and find a way to beat them, aren't we? Thanks for watching tonight, guys. I am off. I will see you on Friday for the women's show. And, of course, Saturday night, Arsenal versus Newcastle from the Emirates. A little bit of edge to that game, isn't there, now? And it's going to be good. And let's hope Arsenal can keep our Premier League run going, even if we've lost for only the second time in 2024. Let's see if we can keep our league run going at the weekend. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to give us a like, of course. Terry says, Richard, great show again. I've been meaning to ask you for a few weeks now. How's the new job going? Oh, no, yeah, thanks, mate. No, it's going really well, actually. I'm really enjoying it. Really starting to feel settled now. You know what it's like, you get a new job. It can take a few weeks, kind of, for you to start to feel that you've really settled in. But I really do feel I have now. Yeah, it's going really well. Thanks, mate. Thanks for asking. And yeah, happy. Really happy. So yeah, good. So yeah, that's good stuff. So join me on Friday for the women's show, of course. I'm sure you look forward to that. One of our favourite shows of the week that I enjoy doing. And of course, the game Saturday night. Wow, Saturday night, funny time when at 8 o'clock kickoff. Have we ever had an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday before? I'm not sure if we have. Anyway, it's all coming up on the show. So please give us a like. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching tonight, guys. I will see you very soon. Unfortunately, tonight ended in defeat. Porto 1, Arsenal 0. It was a great goal to win it at the end. Still got a lot of work to do, but we'll be fine, won't we? We'll be going through. I'm sure we will. But come and stay with us for all the action as it's going to come along over the next few weeks. So yeah, it's going to be good. Thanks for watching tonight. Like, share, and subscribe. Come on, you gunners, and I will see you on Friday. Thanks for watching. Ta-da.